Immortal Cultivation. I run an internet cafe in another world. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, Strength in Numbers. His face was very cold, and he said expressionlessly, "Your sister's confidants have been almost slaughtered. What are you going to do? Even for the sake of the people, you have to cheer up." I don't know. Zinai was forced to speak in a low voice under the pressure of his eyes. I was caught on the way back that day. I wanted to send a message to my sister, but the national teacher brought very powerful people, and I was no match for them. Sister, it's all my fault. I didn't take good care of everyone. Zinai lowered her head in frustration. She never thought that one day the situation would become like this. If the emperor knew about it, he would definitely be disappointed in her, right? Things have already happened. It's useless for you to complain about yourself here. If I were you, I would actively find ways to save the people. After all, these traitors have not ascended the throne yet, and you two sisters still have a chance. I see that they are planning to deal with all the ministers who oppose them in the Imperial City and then find a way to choose the right time to push the new emperor up. You still have some time. Bai Luo and Leng Yu took turns to persuade. Although Leng Yu had taught Xinyu seriously for many years, she was still young after all. She had never thought that such a painful lesson would happen in the Imperial City in just 2 or 3 days. She couldn't accept it for a while, and was in a panic all day, not daring to close her eyes. Gao Yangchen and his team were fast. When Bai Luo was treating Xinyu, they came all the way from the northernmost part. Unexpectedly, they had almost no obstacles when they came. Although there were soldiers guarding the north gate, the inspection was not strict. In addition, Bai Minglan took out the token of a young disciple of the Holy Land, and it didn't take much effort to sneak in. Bai Luo kept in touch with them along the way. After half a day, they finally ran over and met up. "Finally meet you. How is it? Is everyone okay?" Gao Yangzu jumped out and greeted them enthusiastically. But when she saw Zinai lying on the large Luohan bed, she looked at them as if they had encountered some kind of monster. Her eyes flickered, and she couldn't help but pat Bai Luo on the shoulder. "What happened? Is she injured?" She was a doctor. Although her medical skills were not very advanced, she could see that Zinai must be sick. Her face was so pale, her breathing was very weak, and she was holding a strange thing in her hand, and she would put it in her mouth to suck from time to time. What was going on? Was she infected with something disgusting? She was injured. Gao Yangzu frowned and said after Bai Luo simply told Gao Yangchen and the others what had happened in the past 2 days. "How come it is similar to what I encountered more than 10 years ago? Back then, 2 other countries also colluded to harm my father. The most troublesome thing is that the people in the city now seem to be unaware of this. I even suspect that they will create a fake Leng Yu and Xinyu and arrange for them to sit on the throne." When Yangchen said this, everyone looked at him in horror. Leng Yu clasped her hands tightly. How can they be so bold? Haven't you discovered yet? This incident must have been planned by Yan State and Xiling State for a long time. They first controlled the ministers in the Imperial City, who were on your side, and then kept the matter secret and didn't tell the people. I think what Yangchen said makes sense. Maybe they are busy pushing those 2 puppets up. By then, everyone will still think that you are still sitting on the throne of the emperor. No matter what laws that person promulgates, the people will not have any objections. At most, they will just think that you have become very different from before. Bai Minglan added slowly. Then what should we do now? In order to protect the people, we must not act rashly with them, and now we only have these few people here. Leng Yu was very anxious. "Don't worry, leave this matter to me. I roughly know what to do." Bai Luo nodded. "My brother and I will go to the city to inquire and see what the people think." Gao Yangzu added. After several people gathered together to discuss, Bai Luo decided to let them go out first and try. The Holy Land has connections with almost all countries on this continent, but they are divided into open and private. Bai Minglan will naturally find a way to contact the Holy Land organization here. After checking, they found that it was really similar to what they guessed. The people didn't know that the Imperial City had experienced a very painful battle. It was just because the palace sent an order that everyone stayed at home and didn't dare to walk around. In addition to the important ceremonies held in the palace, which will appear outside Chaotian Gate, is there a place where the people believe in you? If so, I hope you can come forward to let the people know about this. Betty Minglan gently tapped the table and turned to look at Xinyu. You are all royal family members. You should know what to do, right? Gao Yangchen was a little disdainful of the civil strife in the Kanglang Kingdom, but he didn't want the people to suffer, so he could only follow. Before Leng Yu was away, you were temporarily in charge of all matters in the country. Find a way to appear in front of the people and tell them about this. You should make it clear that it was those traitors who wanted to take over while you were outside. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 +_. I remember that we said we would open a branch of the internet cafe here. How are the preparations going? Gao Yangzu's brain circuit was somewhat clear, and she jumped to another direction in an instant. When Yangchen was about to pull her thoughts back, Bai Luo suddenly responded, it has been built a long time ago, just waiting for an auspicious day to open and welcome customers. Then I have a way, Betty Minglan said, and everyone's eyes fell on her. She cleared her throat, took another sip of tea, and then said, first, you should find a way to tell the people about this. You are the sister of the Emperor of the Kanglang Kingdom, so you naturally know how to contact the people. Then, select some talented people to go to the internet cafe and quickly form a strong team that can fight against those traitors. In this way, your chances of winning will increase a little. I'll go right away. Xinyu, who was still curled up in bed and trembling just now, instantly gained some courage, threw off the quilt and walked down. It's just that her lungs were damaged and haven't recovered yet. After leaving the oxygen machine, she couldn't help but cough several times. Be careful. Betty Minglan moved his fingers, and a red pill popped in front of her. There's a big problem with your heart and lungs. You have to take good care of it. Take this medicine first. At least it can ensure that you can speak normally within 3 days. Thank you. Xinyu nodded politely to her and quickly discussed with Leng Yu. Chapter 102 Support from the people. After all, they are of royal blood, so they naturally know how to contact the people. After the two discussed it, they decided to go to the central square of the Imperial City. Now most people are staying at home, but the royal family of Kanglang Kingdom has something that functions very much like a modern loudspeaker. As long as they are citizens of Kanglang Kingdom, using this unique magic weapon, the people can hear what the royal family says, no matter where they are in Kanglang Kingdom. The purer the royal blood, the clearer the words conveyed to the people. However, this magic weapon cannot be used easily, and every time it is used, most of the essence and blood will be consumed. Leng Yu is pregnant now, so she dare not try it easily, fearing that it will harm the child, so Xinyu volunteered to take over this task. Bai Luo was beside her to protect her. She stood on the high platform of the monster hunting game, took a deep breath, raised the huge thing in her hand that looked like a transparent tape ring, and put it to her mouth. Her clear voice spread far away. People of Kanglang country, I'm the Emperor's sister Xinyu. 3 days ago, the left prime minister and the national teacher colluded with people from Xiling country and Yan country to put me under house arrest in the secret room of the national teacher's mansion. She angrily told the recent events again, and then shouted, people, my sister has been working hard for the development of Kanglao country for these years, since she ascended the throne, and has never relaxed for a moment. But I didn't expect that when my sister was seeking a way to strengthen Kanglang country, she was taken advantage of by outsiders. After many days of searching, my sister has found a way to help the people become stronger. If the people have blood element in public and have broken through the foundation building period, please follow me to Kinglang Street. There, I will arrange a place for everyone to improve their strength. As long as we work together, we can definitely drive away those who occupy our homes. As expected of a person of royal blood, her words are so ups and downs, which are really exciting. Bai Luo curled his lips and smiled. The common people also heard her words, and were very surprised, but they all expressed their firm support for her. It was probably similar to what Leng Yu thought. Although many ministers felt that she was a woman and was very dissatisfied with her ascending to the position of the Emperor of Kanglang country. However, after she ascended the throne, both she and Xinayu had made a lot of sacrifices for the people of Kanglang country, and everyone saw it. The common people never expected that the great state teacher and the left prime minister, who were usually very friendly in front of outsiders, would do such a thing, and they were extremely disgusted with them. Now everyone didn't care about the so-called regulations issued by the royal family before. Those with bloodline cultivation ran out of their homes and went to the streets. In the blink of an eye, dozens of people appeared outside the internet cafe. Seeing that the number of people was increasing, Bai Luo took the initiative to say to Xinayu, "You are responsible for selecting some relatively strong ones. The number of machines in the internet cafe is not enough, so first come those with higher cultivation." "I know, leave it to me." Xinayu nodded vigorously. The opportunity was right in front of them. If they couldn't seize it this time, the boss probably wouldn't open a branch here. It would be a huge loss for them. She would never allow such a thing to happen. You take people to organize it. It's impossible for all the ministers of Kanglang country to be controlled by them. You and your sister must have a backup plan. Although Leng Yu didn't understand why Bai Luo saw everything so clearly, she still admitted it honestly. He quickly asked someone to help. "What are you going to do next?" Betty Minglan stepped forward. "They are all citizens of Kanglang country. Most of the civilians can hear what Xinayu said just now. I believe those ministers who instigated rebellion also know about it. I'm afraid they will rush here soon. I have to take care of the internet cafe. We will watch here first. I'm here to help too." Xinayu has gone to organize people. There must be 2 people in charge of the internet cafe. Gao Yangzu raised her hand high. "Then we will be your backup. If you need anything, just let us know." Bai Minglan also agreed. Okay, after the few people gathered together to discuss for a while, they quickly followed the tasks assigned to them by Bai Luo and got busy quickly. When Xinayu informed the people, her voice was heard far away in the palace. After the Imperial Master slowly woke up from the effect of the dream pillow and learned that the secret room had been destroyed, his first reaction was that it was impossible. He had placed many absolute masters in the secret room, and there were also ferocious beasts that he had captured from outside with great effort, just to keep an eye on Xinayu. At that time, they had already seriously injured Xinayu, and Leng Yu had no news. How could she escape in such a short time? The Imperial Master did not believe in evil, and quickly took people to check it out. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus book bar published this novel for the first time. But after going there, he found that the whole secret room was filled with an extremely strong smell. The master beside him identified that the smell was poisonous, so he quickly sent the Imperial Master out first and took people to investigate. However, after he led his men to search inside and outside, he came out and replied carefully, "My lord, Xinayu has run away. We have searched everywhere, but we can't find her. Who rescued her? No one should know that she was locked up here." The National Master clenched his fists in anger. His previous actions were very secretive, and Leng Yu was still outside. How could anyone come to rescue Xinayu? "My lord, this, I don't know either, and except for the door lock being broken, there are no obvious signs of fighting in other places." The subordinate also found it difficult to understand. With Xinayu's cultivation, it is absolutely impossible for her to run away alone, but now she is indeed missing. What's going on? Hurry up and arrange people outside to track her whereabouts. Inform the left prime minister and let him take people to seal the 4 gates of Kanglang country and never let her escape. The National Master ordered angrily. The subordinates agreed one after another and trotted out to do things. But the Imperial Master was still worried. They had originally planned to find a way to lure Leng Yu in 2 days and then catch the turtle in the jar and then get rid of all the ministers who had a good relationship with them before and then push the puppets they had arranged. But now all this has to be done in advance, otherwise if the people who had a good relationship with Leng Yu before reacted and counterattacked, all their previous preparations might face great difficulties. Soon, the Imperial Master personally went to find the left Prime Minister and told him about Xinayu's escape. The two of them immediately led their men and the masters arranged by the emperors of Yan and Xiling countries to control all the ministers of Leng Yu's faction. If they met some people who were willing to bow their heads and beg for mercy, they would leave them with a life, but if they wanted to resist, they would be killed on the spot. The whole Imperial City was filled with blood. Chapter 103, Fierce Beasts Besiege. After dealing with all the ministers in the shortest possible time, the Imperial Master and the Left Prime Minister gathered the ministers of their faction, and then read out the edict they had drafted before in front of everyone, saying seriously, "Everyone, think carefully, is there anything wrong with the edict I prepared just now? If you bring it up now, you can make timely revisions." Imperial Master, are you sure Xinayu has really run far away? Will she seize the opportunity to run back and counterattack? A disciple of the Left Prime Minister stood up and asked. That's why we have to push the puppet up before she tells the people about this. Then we can issue orders on behalf of the two sisters. Otherwise, I wouldn't have summoned you to the palace so quickly. What do you think? The ministers looked at each other, and all their words turned into a sigh. Listen to the Imperial Master and the Prime Minister. Okay, in that case, call all the ministers who can still move into the palace in an hour, and I will read the edict myself at that time. The ministers nodded repeatedly. But who knew that at this moment, Xinayu's clear voice suddenly came from outside, and the national teacher was shocked. Didn't you say that Xinayu had run away? Why did she come back again? Prime Minister Zeduo was almost furious. He finally had most of the power of Kanglang country in his hands. Why did Xinayu come back to cause trouble? Now is not the time to discuss this. The national teacher threw his sleeves. You and I will arrange our subordinates to search in several ways. We must not let her gather the people. She doesn't have many troops. As long as we work together, she can't return to the palace. When the time comes, we will prepare the puppets and say that the previous Xinayu was crazy and her words are not counted. Prime Minister Zeduo did not dare to delay and immediately left with his disciples and subordinates. Bai Luo couldn't ignore the internet cafe, and it was a new store opening, so they needed to help watch many things. Moreover, the people of Kanglang country had never seen such a magical place as an internet cafe before, and they didn't know anything about computers. They didn't even know how to turn on and off the computer. Several people were busy. Xinayu's reputation is not bad, and the peace in Kanglang country is hard won. No one wants to see them attacked by other countries again, and become a prey in the future. The people she selected rushed to the store. Soon, the newly opened internet cafe branch became extremely lively. Let's not make those troublesome foods for now. We can only provide drinks and some snacks for everyone. We don't have enough manpower, and don't have time to prepare. And we have to help many people introduce the game. Most of them are not very advanced, so they have to start from the basics. Gao Yangzu wiped the sweat from her forehead, and ran to Bai Luo with red cheeks to ask. Okay, then you watch first. I'll go outside to buy some ingredients and process them simply. If you need anything, please contact me at any time. Bai Luo said, and put a square jade sign in her hand. Go and come back quickly. Gao Yangzu hung the communication talisman on her wrist, drank a cup of cold tea directly, and continued to be busy. Xinayu was well organized at the beginning. She had a puppet to help her, and the people didn't think of besieging her. She quickly selected dozens of potential ones and asked them to go to the internet cafe to try the game first. If they can feel the benefits, they will immediately lead their family and friends, and by then the strength of the people will definitely be greatly improved. Even if they can't compete with the national teacher and the Left Prime Minister in a short time, at least they can buy them some time. But she didn't expect that the national teacher's people would come so quickly. Looking at the black shadows in the distance, Xinayu's face suddenly changed and suddenly shouted to the people around her, "Everyone quickly disperse. The rebels have chased us. Go home and hide. I will contact you again when I find a chance." As she said, she pushed her palms outward with force, and a huge wind blew the people around her dozens of meters away. She fled to a more secret place at a fast speed. The puppets helped to resist the sudden chasers from behind, and Xinayu was left alone. She knew how powerful the team of the national teacher was, and Bai Luo and the others were busy with the internet cafe. Far water could not quench a nearby fire. She did not dare to run to a place where people lived densely. She gritted her teeth and ran to a stone forest in Kangalang country. That place was very dangerous, and the deeper you went into the stone forest, the closer you would get to a swamp forest. It was said that there were many ferocious beasts living in it, but she could not care about so much. She stretched out her hand to put a mask on her face and rushed in directly with her body skills to the extreme. "Brother, do you want to follow?" Several men in iron armor stood outside the swamp forest with a solemn expression. They were all natives of Kangalang country, so they naturally knew how dangerous this forest was. No one knew how big the swamp forest was. In recent years, only a few people rushed in alone. Xinyu's cultivation was not very profound. If she ran in, she would be in danger of death. "Wait outside for half an hour. If we don't hear the beasts rioting, we will go in and take a look at the periphery." With her cultivation level, she can't run far. The leader in front had a flash of contempt in his eyes. She is the emperor's sister, so what? After all, she is not very old, and he has dealt with the beasts in the swamp forest before. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR first published this novel. That time, he also went in with several very powerful elders in the family, hoping to get a green spirit fruit to treat the senior who was injured in the heart meridian. But he didn't expect that they couldn't even get into the inner circle of the swamp forest, let alone Xinyu. If she accidentally broke into the territory of the beast, they didn't need to do anything. She would be eaten by the beast without leaving any residue. "Yes, listen to the eldest brother." The soldiers nodded hurriedly and took out their most powerful magic weapons to observe the situation inside the swamp forest. Xinyu regretted it after she ran in. This forest is full of poisonous things all year round. As soon as she came in, she smelled a strong smell, mixed with the strong smell of blood, the feces of various beasts, and the rotting smell of dead branches and leaves. Fortunately, this mask was given to her by Bai Luo for self-defense before, and he never took it back, so it could barely resist a little. She didn't dare to stay in the forest for too long, just thinking about successfully avoiding the pursuers and running out from another place. She avoided the places where the grass and trees grew extremely lush and ran towards the relatively flat places. After about a quarter of an hour, she was exhausted and panting. The deeper she went, the more intense the pressure in the forest became. She didn't know what kind of powerful beasts were hidden in the depths of the center. Chapter 104, Difficult Escape. She patted her chest gently and was about to look for some spiritual herbs and fruits nearby to temporarily replenish her physical strength. When she looked around, she was surprised to see a red fruit tree just a dozen feet away from her. She remembered that she had seen it in a book before. It was called the fire date tree. The fruit it produced was as red as fire, and the fruit was about the size of an adult's fist. It was a mutated date, and eating it could greatly replenish the fire source power in the body. Although the fire source power in her blood was very scarce, she couldn't care so much in such a forest. She just wanted to eat enough. She quickly walked through, picked a dozen fruits, and put them in the frame. After wiping them clean, she took a bite and instantly felt a warm feeling in her mouth. She couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief while eating and observing the movements around her. She had never been to the swamp forest alone before, and she was also worried about encountering ferocious beasts, and there was no one around to help her at the moment. If she was really in danger, no one would come to save her, even if she screamed her throat out. She didn't want to encounter such bad luck, but she had just finished eating 2 fruits and was about to walk to the edge to seek a glimmer of life when she suddenly heard a rustling sound under her feet. When she saw what was under her feet, Xinyu's expression suddenly became very ugly. She was not a timid woman, but suddenly seeing so many brightly colored spiders, scorpions, and lizards still made her scalp tingle. The spider leading the way was half the size of an adult, with black hair on its head. It was obvious that it was a very poisonous guy who was not easy to mess with. Xinyu carefully kept her breathing to the lowest level, not daring to attract the attention of these poisonous creatures. But she greatly underestimated the ability of these poisonous creatures to perceive the surrounding environment, especially as she was a living person, and she had just eaten a few fire dates, and the blood source power in her body was constantly radiating. For these poisonous creatures, every part of her body was a tonic. It had been a long time since she had eaten such a fresh human being, and the spider suddenly turned around. Xinayu then discovered that it actually had 4 eyes on its head. Each eye was half the size of her fist. When the spider glanced over, Xinayu felt that she had instantly become the prey being stared at, and her back felt cold. The spider opened its mouth, and a large ball of colorful spider silk rushed towards her. Although the spider silk was very thin, it was spit out by this poisonous spider, and was extremely toxic. As soon as it stuck to the tree, where Xinayu had just hidden, she saw the leaves instantly turn yellow, and then quickly turn black and fall down. She was worried that she would be entangled in the spider silk, and would not survive, so she quickly rushed forward, not caring about where she was running. Spiders, scorpions, lizards, etc., with their little brothers, were chasing after her. Spiders that grew to this size must have lived for at least several decades, and their brains were not stupid at all. Seeing Xinayu shuttle through the woods, floating in the air, and using spider silk to hang herself on the tree to chase. The spider silk it spits out is very tough, and even an adult can't pull it apart. After a few breaths, Xinayu was about to be caught up. She was so anxious that she was sweating profusely, but the movement in the forest alarmed several larger guys that looked like yellow cattle, but they had 3 horns on their heads and long tails that dragged on the ground, covered with a layer of black scales. Xinayu couldn't help but take a breath. Black-tailed yellow cattle beast. Could it be that she would die here today? What kind of luck is this? The yellow cattle beast slowly walked in front of her. Don't look at their slow speed, but because of their huge size, every step they took was like an earthquake. In a short while, they brought their little brothers beside them to surround Xinayu firmly in the middle. At the critical moment, she immediately took out her most powerful life magic weapon and smashed it hard at the big spider that had just pounced on her. Spiders are highly poisonous, which she knew very well. If she could temporarily stop these yellow cattle beasts, she could at least buy some time. But the shell of this big spider is much harder than ordinary ones. The big hammer transformed by her life magic weapon hit the spider's back hard, and it actually made a bang sound, but the spider was unharmed. It's just that it has lived for so many years, and this is the first time it has encountered such a daring human who dares to attack it. The spider was furious, and began to summon its own kind. In the blink of an eye, a number of colorful spiders appeared beside Xinayu. She knew that she was surrounded, and she was so anxious that she quickly shot out Dan Huo to burn the spider silk. But she didn't expect that her cultivation was not enough among the very ferocious beasts in the swamp forest. Her Dan Huo could only burn the spider silk spit out by some of the smallest spiders. When she encountered a slightly larger or more poisonous one, she was completely helpless. The yellow cattle beast seemed to have discovered that this human was trapped at this time, and took advantage of her inability to deal with it and rushed forward. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR is the first to publish this novel. Despite their huge bodies, their movements were not clumsy at all. Their tails were like whips, and they hit Xinayu several times in a blink of an eye. Xinayu was hit hard on the back, and her internal organs were trembling with pain. She was forced into a corner, but the spiders in front of her clearly didn't want her to leave, and their poison was so strong that she had no choice but to break out of the encirclement of the yellow cattle beasts. She used her floating shadow skills to the extreme, and her figure was so fast that several after images appeared in the air. The spiders failed to catch her and chased after her in anger, and the yellow cattle beasts followed. The big bull leading the way was the fastest, mooing, and the hardest horn on its head was always staring at Xinayu's back. After running for a while with all her strength, she was almost exhausted. Finally, she stopped hearing the sound of the yellow cattle beast from behind. When she stopped to catch her breath, she found that she had arrived at a completely unfamiliar place. She was surrounded by all kinds of purple grass that she had never seen before. But before she could drink some water to calm down, she saw a huge ape suddenly appear in front of her. The ape's hair was white and its tail was extremely long. Their intelligence was much better than other beasts in the forest. When they found a human running here alone, the monkey with red cheeks shouted to the people next to him, and the surrounding forest echoed it. Xinayu's scalp tingled when she heard it. Chapter 105. What you shouldn't read. When she was about to break out, the largest ape suddenly pounced on her, and Zinai was caught by it by the arm. The monkey's head approached her, greed flashed in its eyes, and suddenly opened its mouth. The monkey's body was at least twice as big as Zinai's, and it almost bit off half of her head with its mouth. Zinai struggled desperately, but a large group of monkeys appeared behind her and surrounded her. The strong smell on them made Zinai dizzy, and she called out with difficulty, "I know you are white-haired long-tailed monkeys. I have no conflict with you. Let me go. As long as you let me live today, I will find a way to repay you in the future." The long-tailed monkey could not speak human language yet, but it was obvious that he did not trust her. He quickly tied her up tightly and planned to offer her to the Ape King of this place. However, the Ape King was quite knowledgeable. He looked at the tied up human woman, walked up to her and smelled her, then suddenly stepped back a few steps, nodded, and chattered something to the younger brothers behind him. Then, he actually walked up to her and untied the vines on Zinai's body. She rolled her eyes, not knowing what was going on, but saw the Ape King pointing outside. Did he mean to let her go? Zinai didn't have time to think so much, and stumbled out. The long-tailed ape behind her was a little unhappy, and kept gesturing to the Ape King. "King, why are you letting her go? She has the breath of Teoti. No matter where she comes from, King Teoti cannot be offended. Don't catch her again in the future," the Ape King said, and walked to the huge stone chair in the middle, silently watching Zinai's back as she walked away. Even though she escaped this time, she still encountered some ferocious beasts that wanted to eat her on the way, and she had a hard time dealing with them. When she finally appeared at the edge of the swamp forest, it was almost dark. She dragged her wounds all over her body and barely appeared at the door of the internet cafe. Before she could say a word, she fell to the ground. Gao Yangchen was just sending the last wave of customers away. Seeing her lying outside covered in blood, he hurriedly sent the customers out first, rushed over and picked her up by the waist, and sent her into the internet cafe, calling out to Bai Luo, "Senior, come and see. Zinai is injured." What happened? Bai Luo was also surprised. Zinai didn't know that it was the breath from Teoti on her body that saved her. She had held the little rabbit several times in the internet cafe before, and fed it food, so it was inevitable that her body was stained with some of its breath. The Ape King just now thought that she and Teoti were the same species, so he let her go, allowing her to barely save her life. Although she is in human form, fierce beasts with higher cultivation levels have already been able to take the transformation grass, and the Ape King thinks so too. It can only be said that Zinai's luck this time is not too bad. She accidentally came back alive. Where did she go? Why does she have so many messy smells? Betty Minglan just helped to clean up the internet cafe. Under Zinai's arrangement, there were actually quite a few customers on the first day of the internet cafe's opening. However, Bai Luo was still unclear about the income of the official operation in Kangalang country. Naturally, he did not turn on the air conditioner on the first day, but just asked someone to open the windows wide. At the suggestion of Yangzu and others, he took some ice spirit stones to temporarily cool down. At this moment, Betty Minglan felt that her whole body was about to stink. The sweat on her body was dry and wet, and she changed her clothes twice. She glanced at Zinai and felt that she would not die, so she handed Bai Luo several bottles of pills. "You and our Yangzu help her deal with it. I'm going to wash up. I smell so bad." The people suddenly saw such a magical thing as the internet cafe and found that they only played games for a while, and their cultivation began to increase to varying degrees. They were all excited, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. If Bai Luo hadn't posted signs on the walls of the internet cafe prohibiting guests from making loud noises, otherwise they would be asked to leave directly, I'm afraid their exclamations would have almost blown the roof off. Bai Minglan has misophobia, so naturally he couldn't stand walking around with such a bad smell. "Do you trust me so much?" Bai Luo shouted helplessly. Bai Minglan just waved at him and quickly rushed to the dormitory behind the internet cafe. It was still similar to the previous structure, one room per person, but she was a little disgusted, thinking that she couldn't adapt to such a simple place. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 + BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. After looking around at the back, She found that the area chosen by this internet cafe branch was quite large, and there was a large open space at the back. She waved her hand, took out a simple bamboo building from her sleeve, and walked in. There was a clear spring in the bamboo house, which was a gift from an elder, before she came out. It was enough for 5 or 6 people to bathe together. After changing out of the dirty clothes on her body, Betty Mingland soaked in the hot spring pool comfortably, and finally felt alive. Betty Mingland doesn't care. Let's go over and take a look. Xinayu is seriously injured. Gaoyang Xinayu quickly used a cleaning technique to clean herself up and hurriedly called out. She was not a cold-hearted person, so naturally she couldn't bear to see Xinayu injured like this in front of her and not save her. Let's go. I'll go with you, Bai Luo said, turning around and calling Aoyang Chen. Help clean up the internet cafe, and we'll have a good meal together later. Leng Yu is out. You send her a message and ask her to come back as soon as she finishes the work at hand. Got it. Aoyang Chen agreed and quickly began to pack up. Bai Luo carried Xinu to the dormitory that had just been prepared. Each of them had a room with a separate bathroom. But the light silk cloth on her body had been completely soaked with blood, and her back injury was very serious. After the blood coagulated, the wound was stuck to her clothes, and he couldn't bear to do it. Hurry up. Gao Yangzu was also very nervous, urging him, tear off the clothes on Xinayu's back. I dare not. I can't do it either. Bai Luo was extremely embarrassed, staring at her. I have never treated such a serious injury before. How about waiting for Betty Mingland to come out and see? Don't give me that. Gao Yangzu couldn't help but glare at him. You know how clean Betty Mingland is. She can't come out for half an hour to wash. Xinayu is already injured like this. If we don't take care of her, she will definitely not survive. Hurry up. I'll wait for you by the side. You help clean her wound first. Gao Yangzu said, quickly threw down a set of women's clothes and hid out immediately. Although she had experience in treating people before, the injuries were not so serious. Xinayu's whole body was stained with blood, and she was scared. Chapter 106. Forcing the issue. Bai Luo sighed deeply and couldn't help complaining. One or two of them are useless. When the critical moment comes, they run faster than rabbits. Having said that, he couldn't completely ignore Xinayu. His hands moved slowly, and after performing a cleaning spell to temporarily clean the dirt on Xinayu's body, he looked at the huge tear on her back, gritted his teeth, and finally took out the dagger to cut open all the clothes on her upper body. But seeing that her wound was half an inch deep from her back to her shoulder, he couldn't help but gasp. After coming here, he has helped a few unlucky guys to treat their wounds, but this is the first time he has seen such a serious injury. Moreover, the wound is not very neat and tidy, and it seems that there are some small barbs on the side, which is shocking to see. How is it? How is she? Gao Yangzu asked anxiously outside. Is she okay? If you are not afraid, come and help quickly. Her wound is very deep, with a long cut. Bai Luo greeted Ao Yangzu outside unhappily. Didn't you always say you wanted to practice medicine? Why don't you have the courage now? I'm scared. You help her first. I'll come in later. Gao Yangzu looked down at her toes. After all, she was a flower that grew up in a greenhouse. When she was in the palace before, she had never encountered such a serious injury. It was absolutely impossible for her to say that she was not afraid at all. Bai Luo moved his hands and could only ask the system, is there anything that can be used for stitching? Her wound is so deep, she may need stitches. Yes, host, but she probably can't use modern needles and thread. If you sew her up now, you'll have to find a way to remove it later. Why not use this dragon beard grass? The thread made from dried dragon beard grass is quite tough and can slowly blend into the skin, making it most suitable for people at this time. But host, I have to keep a record of you first, and we'll have to settle all of them together in the future. Bai Luo was about to scold the system for being a profiteer, but the system spoke again. Host, this is a rare opportunity. You cured her, which is equivalent to doing a great favor to the Kangalang country. Leng Yu and the others will definitely remember your kindness. The system chattered again, and Bai Luo was so annoyed that he could only tell it to shut up. He looked at the needle that the system had prepared for him, which was about the length of his finger, and some thin and dense threads beside it, and called out to Ao Yangzu outside. come in right now and watch how I sew her up. Come in. Gao Yangzu heard that he seemed to be angry, so she carefully pushed open the door. But seeing Xinyu lying on the bed with her back completely exposed to the air, she couldn't help but glare at Bai Luo fiercely. You called me in just now. Did you see what she did in front of you? So what if you saw it? You still have the nerve to blame me? Bai Luo glanced at her unhappily. Who is afraid to come in? Don't you always say that there is a difference between men and women? She is so injured, but you are not willing to come to take care of it. You only allow the state officials to set fires, but not allow the people to light lamps? Gao Yangzu puffed her cheeks, her face full of displeasure. She knew she was in the wrong, but how could she bear that Bai Luo had seen almost all of a woman? If according to the rules of Xiangsuan country, he would marry Xinyu into the family, did he really want to marry a wife? Then why did he reject her before? Is her status not as high as Xinyu's? Bai Luo pointed at something beside him and gave a direct command. Didn't you say that a royal doctor had taught you before? Let me see how well you have learned. Come and sew it up. Looking at the huge wound on her back, Gao Yangzu tentatively picked up the needle and thread, but she still didn't dare to do it. She could only look at Bai Luo and said, "Can you show me how to do it? I have never treated such a wound alone before. I'm afraid." Then stand aside and watch carefully. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I will use this needle and thread to sew your mouth shut. Bai Luo said a few words to her angrily, and then he followed the instructions of the system and started from the bottom of the wound. The bleeding had stopped, and Xinyu lay motionless on the bed, and no one knew what was going on now. Bai Luo didn't want her to endure too much pain, and was also worried that it would be too painful when suturing later. She struggled to wake up, so he could only stuff a pocket of anesthetic powder in her mouth first, and after she fell into a deep sleep, he quickly sewed her back. It was just inevitable that he would touch her skin, and Gao Yangzu's eyes almost spit fire when she saw it. It took nearly a quarter of an hour before Bai Luo finally sewed up the wound on her back. Then, he looked at the wound on Xinyu's shoulder with some difficulty. He didn't know if she still had a wound on her chest. But now that her back had just been sutured, it would take some time for the wound to heal. He couldn't let her lie down, could he? What if she pressed on the wound? Let me take a look. Gao Yangzu finally saw his dilemma and took the initiative to step forward. Bai Luo helped Xinyu up, holding her shoulders with one hand. Gao Yangzu came forward and carefully tore open the front of her clothes. She gasped when she saw the wound extending to nearly 2 inches below the collarbone. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar published this novel for the first time. When she looked up, she found that Bai Luo was staring at Xinyu, and she was so angry that she almost screamed. What are you looking at? Look at her wound. If you are brave, come and sew it up. I have no objection. Bai Luo was a little annoyed. What's wrong with Gao Yangzu? Didn't he keep looking at Xinyu to observe her wound? Why do you look like a hooligan? Gao Yangzu was almost mad, but she really didn't want his hands to touch another woman's chest, so she could only take the needle and thread from his hand, grit her teeth, and sew it very carefully. She is indeed talented in medical skills. Although she is not experienced yet, according to the records of medical skills, although the speed is a little slower, she is also meticulous when suturing. Bai Luo watched quietly by the side until layers of sweat oozed out of her forehead, and then finally sewed up all the wounds from Xinyu's shoulder to her chest. Gao Yangzu couldn't help but wipe her forehead and looked at him provocatively. How is it? I'm still very talented, right? If it was someone else, they would not dare to do it at all. Okay, you did a good job. Okay, let her have a good rest. I'll stay here, and you go out first. Xinyu was injured in front and back, so it was not suitable for her to lie down or sleep. Bai Luo thought about it, and could only take out 2 very soft pillows for her, one on each side of her. He leaned her head against the bed again, placed a large doll on the uninjured part of her lower back, and finally breathed a sigh of relief. Chapter 107, Seeking Marriage Again. Gao Yangzu didn't like how he took care of Xinyu so attentively, and said angrily, I want to be here with you. After all, we have known each other for so long. I can't bear to see her get hurt. Whatever you want, just watch if you want. Bai Luo didn't have any objections. It would be easier for him to have one more person here to watch over him. Gao Yangzu was holding her breath, thinking that she had tried her best to please Bai Luo, but he was still unwilling to marry her. Even when he helped her with her treatment, he saw her body, but he was still unwilling to marry her. She felt very unhappy. Until dinner in the evening, she kept finding fault with him, and deliberately made a lot of things he didn't like to eat. Bai Luo looked at her with the same look, as if she were a fool, and went straight to the shelf, to eat a box of self-heating hot pot. After eating and cooking, the fragrance spread throughout the internet cafe, and Bai Luo raised his eyebrows proudly. Gao Yangzu didn't think that deliberately making something he didn't like to eat was torture and punishment for him, right? She was really naive. There are so many delicious foods in the internet cafe. Now he is the boss. Is he going to treat me badly? Seeing that he was completely unmoved, Gao Yangzu was so angry that her face turned bitter. She didn't speak to him for a whole day. Hearing that Xianyu was seriously injured, everyone took turns to visit her. Even Betty Minglan came to check on her in person. It was not until she said with all her heart that Xianyu would not have any problems and just needed to rest well in the future that everyone breathed a sigh of relief. The operation of the internet cafe was also carried out in an orderly manner. Another day passed. At noon, when Bai Luo went in to see Xianyu in person, he found that she had opened her eyes. He couldn't help but be very surprised. He sat by the bed and asked her, "How is it? How do you feel? The wound is not so painful now, right?" He didn't want to bandage Xianyu too thickly, lest the wound could not heal for a long time. After Betty Minglan checked, he put a very thin blue shirt on her. Xianyu glanced at her and suddenly remembered what her sister had told her before, that the boss was a very good doctor. She asked awkwardly, "Boss, the wound on my back before. Ah, I helped you sew it up." Bai Luo didn't take it to heart and was very calm. Gao Yangzu didn't dare. At that time, Betty Minglan went to wash up again and couldn't come over in a short time. "I was worried that your wound would be a big problem if it was not treated, so I volunteered to check it out for you. My sew up is not bad. At most, in another half a month, the dragonbeard grass will be completely integrated into your skin. There will be no problem. Don't worry, is it? Boss, did you help me treat the wound?" Xianyu raised her head in shock, and slowly, her cheeks became redder and redder. "What's the matter? Do you have a fever?" "No, the most dangerous time has passed, and your wound is not inflamed. How can you have a fever?" Bai Luo felt incredible, and gently touched her forehead. "No, boss." Bai Luo grabbed his hand and said shyly, "According to the tradition of our Kanglang country, if he sees a girl, he must marry her. Boss, why don't you choose a good day and marry me? I have no objection. My sister also said that you are a good person. If I marry you, she will definitely feel relieved." "What are you talking about?" Bai Luo quickly pulled his hand out, his eyes bigger than Xianyu's. "I bandaged you out of helplessness at that time. Who told them that neither of them could come? Your sister is out and doesn't know medical skills, so I was just forcing you to do it. You don't have to marry me just because of this, do you? Boss, do you look down on me?" Xianyu looked hurt. "After all, I'm also the sister of the Emperor of Kanglang country. Although there are constant internal and external troubles in the country now, my status is not low." Xianyu found it a little difficult to understand. The boss should not be a person who values status so much, right? Then why is he unwilling to accept her? "No, I don't think the same as you do." Bai Luo had a headache and anxiously walked around the room for several rounds. He said to her carefully, "I don't think the same as you do. I helped you this time out of kindness. If I have to marry that woman every time I save someone, how many wives will I have? This won't work. I don't have this idea. Okay, you should have a good rest first. I'll bring you some food later." With that, he ran out, as if he was escaping. Seeing that he looked very strange when he came out, Gao Yangzu felt very nervous. After about half an hour, the soup for Xianyu was ready, but when it was brought in, she was staring out the window in a daze, so she asked, "What did you say to Bai Luo just now? Why did he look like he had seen a ghost?" Xianyu was embarrassed. After telling her about the traditions of Kanglang country, she said sadly, "Does the boss really think I'm not worthy of him? but I'm not too old, and I will definitely work extra hard in the future to grow up, to be on par with him. Will he agree to you, if he says so? Gao Yangzu's face suddenly became very ugly. Bai Luo's help to you is just a piece of cake. Why do you force him to marry you? Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. What do you mean by forcing him? This is the tradition of our Kangalang country. It has always been like this. Zinai was surprised. What's with that expression on your face? Gao Yangzu was furious. She didn't expect Bai Luo to be so popular. Both Leng Gaiyu and her sister wanted to marry him. In a rage, she ran out to find Bai Luo and told him what happened just now. With her arms crossed over her chest, she looked at him angrily. Anyway, you have to choose between me and Zinayu. She is the sister of the Emperor of Kangalang country, and I'm also a princess of a country. My status is not low, and my medical skills are so advanced, and I will definitely become more and more powerful in a short time. Why don't you marry me? To tell you the truth, I don't plan to marry either of you. Bai Luo was very dissatisfied with Yangzu's unreasonable behavior. You are like this every time you face me. You also think that the two sisters are more gentle and considerate, right? What do you mean? Gao Yangzu ran away in anger. Bai Luo had a headache and could only let Yangchen go to comfort her. He didn't want to marry Yangzu before. First because she was too young, and secondly, he didn't have any emotional foundation with her, and he didn't know how long he would stay in this alien world. According to the system, his strength and cultivation are unfathomable. Ordinary women will feel very oppressive when staying around him, and he doesn't want to affect them, so he has never considered his own marriage. It's just that both sides are urging him, which makes him feel extremely headache. He thought about it, and could only walk to Zinayu's room, where he was always talking, and tell her his thoughts. Chapter 108 Moving Out. How about this? When you feel better, I will take you to play a new game that I just introduced. My idea is similar to that of the owner who designed that game. In my eyes, I will never marry any woman without an emotional foundation. I hope you won't make it difficult for me. What about Yangzu? Will you marry her? Zinayu looked at him nervously. She is also a woman, so she can naturally see that Yangzu's idea of the boss seems to be unusual. But a man like the boss who is extremely outstanding both inside and outside, and has a high level of cultivation will become the object of scramble, no matter where he appears, right? She didn't want to be preempted by Yangzu. Don't worry about her. I said, I don't plan to marry anyone, and I don't have such an idea about her. You should have a good rest first, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Bai Luo hid for 2 days first. Seeing that Zinayu could barely walk on the ground now, he helped her to a place specially prepared for her, turned on the computer, selected a dress-up game that is quite popular in modern times, and introduced it to her. You can try it first, and ask me if you don't understand anything. Okay, I got it. Zinayu looked at the colorful clothes on the page and fell in love with them almost at first sight. She is also a woman, and she has no resistance to these beautiful clothes and jewelry. Bai Luo originally chose this game for her to let her know that he and the modern people in the game have the same thinking. If there is no love between the two parties, no matter how much gratitude the other party has for you, it is impossible to get married. It is also good for Zinayu to understand that she should not be willing to give herself to someone at every turn, which makes her very stressed. At the beginning, Zinayu was quickly attracted by the game. Although she didn't quite understand why the people in the game dressed very differently from them, and both men and women wore very cool clothes in the summer shown in the game, she felt that what they said in daily life still made sense. She played for several days and slowly accepted the thinking of modern people. When talking to Bai Luo, she was no longer as cautious and polite as before, and she became much more cheerful. Just when Bai Luo was very pleased and thought that it would not be long before Zinayu's previous thinking could be changed and she would not force him to marry her, something happened that made him laugh and cry. According to the setting in the game, the character can choose several identities that he is satisfied with at the beginning. Zinayu did not know what those novel designers, appraisers and so on were, so she could only choose a profession related to jewelry appraisal at random under Bai Luo's suggestion. After all, she grew up in the royal family of Kangalang country and felt that her aesthetic level should be pretty good. After a few days of playing games, she not only felt much better, but also knew what to pay attention to in the game. At the same time, she also met the man set by the game to form an official match with her. However, Xinayu still had a good impression of Bai Luo in her heart. When playing games, every time she needed to choose a task to do with that man, she almost always chose the one with the lowest degree of fit. Her own strength grew rapidly, but her game partner was not so good and still stagnated. Seeing that Xinayu spent a lot of time on the game these days, Bai Luo was very satisfied and felt that his efforts were not in vain. Xinayu had not been pestering him these days. However, he overlooked some strange plots in this game. In order to attract more players, the game has set up many fixed scenes about heroes saving beauties or beauties cherishing heroes. Xinayu didn't know this before, but she just looked at the game strategy next to her when she encountered problems. If she encountered choice difficulties, she would directly choose the first one, but she didn't expect that one day she would accidentally unlock a scene where a man and a woman were in danger while outing, and they were unlucky. There was only one hotel nearby, and the only big bedroom was left, so they needed to live together. When she finished the game strategy, her face changed. When she ate, she kept looking at Bai Luo with red cheeks. Bai Luo felt that her eyes today were very intriguing, but there were other people in the internet cafe, and he was embarrassed to bring it up, so he could only barely hold it back. After dinner, Xinayu hid in the dormitory and took a shower. She changed into a rather cool outfit and walked around in front of Bai Luo. "What are you doing?" Bai Luo immediately stepped back several steps in a vigilant manner. "You haven't recovered yet. Have a good rest. I'm tired too. I have to go back to my room." "Boss, I have already reached the 3rd level of the game you recommended to me. It's really fun." Xinayu began to find a topic. "That's good. It's also good for your body. You can continue playing tomorrow. You should be able to recover soon." "I know, but boss." Xinayu took a step forward with courage and looked up at him. According to the settings in the game, when encountering difficulties and dangers, it is normal for a man and a woman to have something happen, even if they sleep in the same bed. I'm afraid of the dark. Can I sleep with you tonight? Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR first published this novel. What are you talking about? Bai Luo looked at her in shock. "I told you, I was just helping you out of kindness. Don't think too much." "But boss, the game is set up like this. My partner and I were in danger outside, and I caught a cold in the rain when we went out during the day. He held me and slept with me at night. Why can't I be with you? I don't think there's anything wrong with that." Bai Luo was so headache, but he couldn't change the game settings. Seeing Xinayu staring at him ignorantly and boldly, he waved his hands quickly. Okay, you sleep by yourself tonight. If there's anything, we'll explain it tomorrow morning. I'm going back to my room first." With that, he rushed back to his room, as if he was escaping, and didn't dare to say another word to Xinayu. After returning to the room, he couldn't help but complain to the system. "What games did you recommend to me before? Look at what Xinayu has become now. Host, doesn't she just want to sleep with you? What's the big deal?" The system looked like it didn't care at all. "If you are really scared, then move out. There are plenty of houses out there anyway." Realizing that Bai Luo seemed to be really angry, the system quickly made excuses for itself. "Host, if you are afraid of living with Xinayu and worried about what might happen, then move out. Just make up an excuse. They shouldn't doubt you." "Yeah, why didn't I think of that?" Bai Luo jumped off the bed excitedly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109, Improving National Strength. There is no time to lose. I will move out immediately. I walked around the city before. There are many inns nearby. I will just find one. If they ask, I will say that I have made some friends here. They are all active at night and I can only talk to them at night. And I need to practice. I need an absolutely safe environment. It is not suitable to stay here. Bai Luo did what he said, and he was really afraid of Ao Hangzhou and the others' bombardment. He quickly packed his belongings and slipped out quickly while no one noticed him in the dead of night. Being rejected again, Xinyu felt very uncomfortable, but she also envied the ideas of modern people. She didn't want to have any conflicts with Bai Luo for the time being, so as not to affect the branch's continued operation in Kanglang country, so she could only bear it reluctantly. The next day, Bai Luo came in from outside at dawn. Bai Minglan glanced at him unexpectedly. Why do you have the smell of the outside world? You didn't go out at night. Yes, I found a very quiet place to live outside. Bai Luo looked at him calmly. Aren't there a lot of rooms in the internet cafe? Why do you want to move out? Isn't it safe enough to sleep here? Bai Minglan found it incredible. Isn't this internet cafe his territory? Why does he want to move out? Bai Luo repeated the words he had spoken to the system last night and said frankly, for a person who has reached my level of cultivation, the quieter the place, the better it is for me, so I found a place to live outside. Don't worry, no one will hurt me. It's up to you. Just don't make any noise and harm the people nearby. Bai Minglan thought very simply, and she didn't have any other thoughts about Bai Luo, so she naturally didn't care where he lived. But when Xinyu heard what he said, her expression suddenly became ugly. After hesitating for a moment, she walked up and whispered, "Boss, you are because of me. It has nothing to do with you." Bai Luo interrupted her quickly. "I wanted to improve my cultivation, so I found a very quiet place outside to absorb the essence of the sun and the moon to practice. You can't go to that place. It's too dangerous for you." Gao Yangchen nodded. He always trusted Bai Luo very much and quickly agreed. "I heard that some powerful predecessors would stay in the secret realm to practice. I guess the boss is the same?" "Yes." Seeing Al Yangchen's advice, Bai Luo was very satisfied and nodded. "Okay, I've decided to move out. You don't have to worry about me." Seeing Xinayu's depressed look, Bai Luo quickly arranged things for her. "I have opened a branch in Kanglang country. As for how to use it in the future, it depends on the arrangements of the two of you. Next, I hope you can quickly select more citizens of Kanglang country with more potential to participate in the trial in the internet cafe. Only when you have a truly strong team under your command, you will have a chance of winning when other countries attack you in the future. I don't need to emphasize this principle repeatedly, right? No." When mentioning the future of Kanglang country, Xinyu immediately put away her self-pity and nodded vigorously. "Boss, don't worry, I will definitely get this done, and will never let you down." "That's good. I trust you two sisters very much." "Okay, go and do your work. Be careful, don't open the wound again, and send me a message in time if you encounter any problems." Seeing that he successfully fooled Xinyu, Bai Luo was very proud. Xinyu nodded. Although she felt a little sour in her heart, she also knew that it was too much for her to talk about those romantic things before the national strength caught up. Moreover, the Kanglang country was now being watched covetously by the Yan country and the Xiling country. As the sister of the emperor, she must not think about those useless love affairs all day long, and must not let the people down. Thinking of this, she instantly regained her fighting spirit. Bai Luo also arranged things for everyone one by one. He and Ao Hangzhou stayed in the internet cafe almost every day, and Bai Minglan and his followers also helped to receive them. Leng Yu was called back by him in time because of physical reasons, which gave Xinyu some time to exercise, and also wanted to see how far she could develop. Xinayu's speed was very fast, and she also wanted Bai Luo to look at her with new eyes, so she worked very hard during this period. For several days in a row, she called many people from the Kanglang country who were truly talented and had potential. In the process of playing games, everyone's strength has been significantly improved. Just as she had imagined before, the effect of letting the people try to play for an hour on the first day was quite significant. After everyone found that their strength had increased, they would be eager to tell their families or trusted friends about this good news, and the business of the internet cafe was getting better and better. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time under Bai Luo's suggestion. She taught them all the exercises that could help the people practice. However, this exercise was improved by Bai Luo. Of course, it was still provided by the system friendly, but not free. There was no way. The system, this grandot, remembered every penny given to Bai Luo clearly, and now he was still in an endless cycle of credit. After checking the income during this period, he said to the system helplessly, I also opened this branch with a loan. Now everything I need is provided by you, and I have to buy on credit. When can I complete the turnover and pay off the loan? Host, why are you so anxious? Isn't the Kanglang country temporarily stable now? The system was honest and didn't seem to worry at all. As long as you continue to run the business here, I think the traffic will be better than before in Chiangsaen country. There is a long way to go, don't panic. Anyway, the system is not in a hurry. In the end, Bai Luo will definitely pay back all the sales and loans owed. It doesn't worry about this. We have to see whether the speed of these people's strength improvement can catch up with the attack of the other two countries. It seems that they will not let go of such a piece of fat meat like Kanglang country so easily. Bai Luo complained to the system. After all, the commission is too much. Thanks to Xinayu for bringing back countless people, otherwise it really can't be supported. And he still has to pay them wages, which is another not small expense. Let's see. If it's not suitable, train another group of people and continue to open the internet cafe in Chiangsaen country. Add up the two sides, the sales will definitely increase. After the system finished speaking, it continued to play dead. Bai Luo had no choice but to actively think about how to promote consumption and save his current profit, which is still not very good. Chapter 110. A country cannot be without a ruler for a day. Although the daily income is not small, after deducting most of the arrears and commissions, there is very little left. When will it end? The ministers of Kanglang country should be more honest recently, right? The dinner is the most relaxing time for everyone. Betty Minglan took the lead in talking about the recent important events. Yes, 3 days ago, didn't the national teacher and the left prime minister bring people to say that Kanglang country is going to announce a change of master? But the people here have a strong backlash, and no one agrees. Yao Yang Chen said. Thinking of what happened 3 days ago, Bai Luo couldn't help but sigh. The national teacher and the left prime minister really didn't believe in evil. Although they didn't catch Leng Yu and the other two, they still didn't think of giving up. Especially Yan country and Xiling country, who have been watching them from behind. There was really no way the two could only call out all the ministers of the same faction as them, using the excuse that Leng Yu and the other two were not in Kanglang country now, and they had not dealt with the big and small affairs of the country for a long time, which was really unbearable. After all the ministers agreed unanimously, they announced that they would choose a truly wise monarch in Kanglang country, and then lead everyone to move forward. However, what Xinayu said in the central square before was not entirely in vain, especially in the past few days, after the people saw their strength had truly achieved a qualitative leap in the internet cafe. How could they still believe what the national master and his party said? Bai Luo and others were also actively instilling in them the idea in the internet cafe. The national master and the left prime minister were the real traitors, and the truly loyal and reliable ministers had long been slaughtered by them, causing the Lengayu sisters and other serious people in power to have to wander outside and hide constantly. It is conceivable how excessive the national master and his party were. The people were filled with righteous indignation, and the people did not approve of the candidates recommended by the national master and his party. They were neither high nor low, and they had never heard of what they had done for the development of the Kanglang kingdom over the years. Naturally, they did not want such a person to ascend to the throne of the emperor, and they opposed it very strongly. The national master never expected that these humble people would disagree with the decrees he issued, and they got angry at the subordinates beside him. Whoever dares to resist will be executed immediately. Kill a few more people to scare them away, and they will definitely not dare to mess around. Master Imperial Master, we are following your instructions, but the people making trouble outside are all very powerful, and we brothers are no match for them. A subordinate ran up with a bruised face and a very embarrassed look. They are just some ordinary people, but you are my guards. Can't you even deal with them? The Imperial Master's face instantly turned as black as the bottom of a pot. Master Imperial Master, please be patient. The left Prime Minister surprisingly calmed down at this time and stepped forward to suggest, if the people really don't want to, we can postpone it for a while and maybe have a good discussion with Yan State. We have to elect someone who is truly popular with the people. Otherwise, if the people make a fuss, even if we really put a puppet up, they won't listen to the decrees. What's the point? Then all our previous efforts will be in vain. We actually have to listen to these lowly people. The national teacher was very dissatisfied. That can't be helped. Let's stop for a while and call back everyone in the central square. Anyway, we are in charge of all matters now. As for whether there is a puppet or not, it doesn't make much difference. Let's ask first. The national teacher and the left prime minister are on the same boat, so it is impossible to directly offend him in front of so many officials. He could only hold back his anger and agree. After another 3 or 4 days, after discussing with the emperors of the two countries, the national teacher led the left prime minister and everyone to the central square again, and said with a sad face, that the Lengayu sisters were accidentally trapped by the enemy country when they went out to participate in the trial, and they had died on the road. They were really forced to choose a person from the royal family who could truly lead the development of the Kanglang kingdom. However, many of the people below were secretly released by Xinayu. Although these people's strength is not particularly high, they have family members with blood element and are now receiving devil training in the internet cafe. Improving strength is their greatest reliance. One of the uncles who was let in stepped forward. He asked in a loud and angry voice, what kind of important trial must have made the emperor and his sister go out together? The ruler of a country and the princess who is in charge of regulating the country are not here. Didn't the national teacher and the left prime minister try to dissuade them? The national teacher glared at him fiercely, his expression solemn. This is the emperor's decision. The two sisters have a deep relationship and they have gone out together before. That was before the emperor ascended the throne. When the late emperor was still alive, the emperor did often go out with a princess. But after the emperor ascended the throne, one of them had to be in the country. Hasn't it been like this for many years? The people became a lot bolder, and with Xinayu secretly sending them messages to make a fuss, they all raised their heads, stiffened their necks, and raised various doubts. A wealthy and powerful squire stood up and said loudly, if the emperor and the princess really got into trouble outside, we must see their bodies, otherwise we will never agree to the new emperor taking office. Yes, we also want to see the bodies of the emperor and the princess, otherwise you are lying to us. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR is the first to publish this novel. Why are the people so anxious? The national teacher and the left prime minister said this for the safety of the Kanglang kingdom. A majestic voice suddenly came from the air. A dazzling golden light flashed, and the Yan Kingdom's Lord Xizhingshan and Xiling Kingdom's Liaoyuai appeared in the air with a dozen giant masters behind them, and came down from the translucent sky shuttle. After the two walked to the side of the national teacher and the left prime minister hurriedly made way for them to sit in the middle. Xizhingshan pretended to be deeply saddened. We have met with Lord Leng before, and we never thought that things would happen so suddenly. We can empathize with the people's thoughts. Since everyone insists on seeing the bodies of the lord and his sister, why don't our two countries come to help? We will send troops to assist you in finding their bodies. How shameless. Kailan, Xinayu's follower who was staying in the internet cafe, heard what he said and slammed the table in anger. They obviously want to take the opportunity to station soldiers in Kanglang country. How can the state master and others agree? Why not agree? Bai Luo sneered. I guess the two of them came here because the state master and the left prime minister contacted each other privately. Once their troops enter Kanglang country, the real crisis will begin. Wait, you have something to do. Chapter 111. Invitations from two countries. He leaned back in his chair nonchalantly. He was worried about when the two countries would show up before, but he didn't expect them to come so soon this time. Moreover, the emperors of the two countries came together. Didn't they think that Kanglang country had prepared a backup plan and they might not be able to escape unscathed? Is this inappropriate? The country gentleman in the front hesitated. His son's recent trial results in the internet cafe were quite good, and because of this, He regarded Xinayu as the benefactor of their whole family. After receiving Xinayu's private instructions, he immediately brought people over and courageously refuted. Now Kanglang country is relatively stable. What does it mean for the two emperors to station their troops? Are they provoking us? What are you talking about, Your Excellency? Liu Yui smiled politely. We brought the army here to help you find the two kings and her sister, didn't we? We did it for your sake. Didn't you keep saying that you wouldn't agree to replace the king of Kanglang kingdom without seeing their bodies? The people were a little hesitant. They really hadn't seen the king for a long time, and it was the princess who had been in contact with them recently. Moreover, the princess told them that she was seriously injured and could not appear in front of the national master for the time being. They couldn't sell the princess out. Since no one is talking, it means that you have tacitly agreed to our decision. Okay, everyone go back. If you want to find the body of the Leng King on your own, we have no objection. We will all be relieved if you can find it as soon as possible. After Xingchen made the final summary, he asked the masters beside him to drive all the people back. Then, he arranged the soldiers who came with them quietly to be stationed in Kanglang Kingdom as quickly as possible. The Imperial Master and the left Prime Minister had already rebelled, and they had been entrenched in Kanglang country for many years, and had already developed quite a formidable power. They had even sent out the military deployment map of Kanglang country. The armed forces of Kanglang country were now directly exposed under the eyes of the two countries, and they secretly disarmed them without much effort. Xinayu had been walking in various secret tribes of Kanglang country recently according to Bai Luo's words, and specially selected some people with quite good qualifications to come. But she didn't expect that she was only delayed outside for 3 or 4 days, and everything changed drastically after she came back. Looking at the soldiers of the other two countries that could be seen everywhere outside, her eyes were full of panic. Boss, is there really no way? Those lackeys. When I become powerful, I will definitely cut them into pieces. Don't worry, if I were you, I would seize the time to improve the strength of the people. In addition, the people you have found these days have good cultivation. If they are given a little more time, they can become people who can fight 100 with one person. Bai Luo calmly comforted her. But the soldiers of the two countries have already moved in. Xinayu was anxious. I can hold them off for you for a while. Yesterday, Yan country sent me an invitation, saying that they want to invite me to have a good chat. Do you think I should go? Bai Luo deliberately joked. Wouldn't the boss go for such a good opportunity to watch a good show? Gao Yangchen couldn't help laughing. When did the boss become so bad-natured? Xinayu was so anxious that she was about to jump up and down, but he still had the time to tease her. Recently, he was not so cautious when facing Bai Luo, and occasionally he would tell a few jokes. He felt that with the boss's strength, there should be no problem in dealing with the two of them, right? Having said that, he is the king of a country after all. If I kill both of them, the soldiers stationed here will surround me. I guess they can wear me down to death with a round-robin battle, right? Bai Luo's face did not show any nervousness, and he was still very relaxed. Xinayu rushed forward, as if she had grabbed a life-saving straw. Just as she was about to kneel down and beg for mercy, Bai Luo held her knees and made her stand up, with a look of disappointment on his face. I've already told you that everyone has gold under their knees. Why do you kneel down at every turn? But boss, I can't watch the people of Kanglang country being enslaved. Xinayu looked at him with tears in her eyes. Forget it, since you have found a lot of good seedlings recently and brought me a lot of sales, I will go for you this time. Don't run around during this period, keep an eye on them and push out more masters as quickly as possible. I know, boss, I will. Okay, you guys help watch here. I'll go and see what this hangman banquet is all about. Bai Luo stood up and even cleaned up. Benny Minglan curled his lips, and he even smiled, and said proudly, after all, it's the first time to meet the emperors of the two countries. We can't leave a bad impression on others. Do you think that the boss can shock them this time? Xinayu carefully approached Yang Chen. She was a little worried. What are you afraid of? With the boss's strength, can the emperors of the two countries beat him? By the way, their strength should not be much different from your sister, right? Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR first published this novel. My sister's peak period is indeed not much different from this. Zinai was not particularly arrogant and said carefully, it's just that my sister's body is a little special now. I'm afraid it won't work. Then don't worry, your sister said before that when she first met the boss, she didn't even dare to breathe, and I guess the emperors of the other 2 countries are probably the same. Don't worry, there will definitely be good news soon, so go and get busy. Hearing his comfort, Zinayu immediately relaxed a lot. On second thought, although her strength was not as good as her sister's, she had been studying hard over the years and could at least fight dozens of moves under the hands of the 2 emperors. But when she first met the boss, she was deeply shocked. I believe that the boss will definitely not be bullied in front of the 2 emperors, and I can't help but relax a lot. This time, Liao Yui and his friends came here, and the national teacher deliberately let them in, and specially arranged them in the most prosperous palace in the palace. But the people in the palace did not dare to have any subtle dissatisfaction, for fear that the national teacher would catch them and send them to a place where no one would shit. After waiting for a few days, Bai Luo finally came, and the 2 immediately walked out of the palace with the masters behind them. You 2 are so polite to come to greet me in person. Bai Luo smiled casually. Just now, he had concealed the aura on his body very cleanly. Except for some meds who were too weak, no one else could detect any aura of a strong man on him, so it was inevitable that they looked down on him and did not take him seriously. Chapter 112. Strength overwhelms. Sit here. It's a good coincidence that you're here. We have something to discuss with you. Xingqian glanced at Bai Luo from head to toe. He didn't think he was such a powerful warrior, so he waved behind him, obviously not taking him seriously. Okay. Bai Luo sat down on a large mahogany chair on the left without any hesitation and smiled at the 2 of them. If you have anything to say, just tell me. It's like this. Liao Yui, who always walked the gentle route, but was actually more vicious than Xingqian, stood up. The maid who was waiting for him to bring over served Bai Luo the top grade spiritual tea and said politely, we all know that Mr. Bai opened an internet cafe in Kanglang country, a strange trial place. To be honest, both of us are very interested in that internet cafe. If Mr. Bai can give us the right to operate the internet cafe, we will definitely not let you down. Mr. Bai, please feel free to ask for anything. So you've set your eyes on my internet cafe. Bai Luo leaned back on the chair like a boneless man, stretched out his right hand, and made a gesture of counting money. I won't do a business at a loss. How much money are you going to give me to buy my internet cafe? What if we give you the Kanglang Kingdom? Xingqian raised his head high, looking very impressive. You also know that the Kanglang Kingdom has no king now, and all matters are handled by the national master. If you are willing to give the king's bar to our 2 countries, we are willing to exchange the Kanglang Kingdom, and you will become the master of a country here in the future. Is that okay? He felt that Bai Luo was just an ordinary person, and it might be just by chance that he got such a powerful thing as an internet cafe. But they exchanged a country. No one could refuse such a benefit, right? If I say I don't want the Kanglang Kingdom, but want a superb spiritual vein from your 2 countries in exchange, are you willing to give it to me? Bai Luo still didn't sit up straight. But after hearing what he said, the 2 of them changed their faces. Liao Yui also narrowed his eyes. Mr. Bai is really humorous. How much is a top grade spiritual vein worth? Mr. Bai, do you know? I know. Otherwise why would I come to you? If Kanglang country has such a good thing, I would have mentioned it to their emperor a long time ago. Isn't it not found here? That's why I came to ask you too. How about this deal? The top grade spiritual vein was also mentioned to him by the system, which is also the most important reason for the development of the 2 countries. Where there is a spiritual vein, the top grade spiritual stone can be bred. No matter which country, spiritual stones are a very scarce resource and can be exchanged for a lot of things. They relied on that spiritual vein to develop the 2 countries in a relatively short period of time. We can't agree. Anyway, Kanglang country is not short of money. We give this country to you, and you can do whatever you want in the future. Liao Yui did not ask him how he knew about the top grade spiritual vein. Xingqian also reacted. This man probably has some strength, otherwise he would not be able to protect an internet cafe. However, his attitude is the same as Liu Yui's. The spiritual vein is the most valuable thing in their two countries and must not be given away. If you don't want to, then there's nothing to discuss. If you want the internet cafe, you can only exchange it with the best spirit veins. There's no other way. Bai Luo stood up. Are you leaving? Is our face so worthless? Zingshan flashed in front of him and waved his right hand vigorously. A giant on-stage master behind him played a very strange short instrument. In the blink of an eye, a very orderly sound of footsteps came from outside. Liu Yui looked at him proudly. Mr. Bai, isn't it good for us to make money in harmony? This time, Lord C and I brought tens of thousands of soldiers. You don't want to confront us head on, do you? It seems that you are going to use force on me. Bai Luo crossed his arms and took a look at the soldiers surrounding the palace. Each of them was well equipped. No wonder Zinai was scared like that before. If these soldiers were used to deal with the people of Kanglang country, who were not strong before, they should be enough. No wonder Zinai was forced to kneel down and beg him to come to help. If you agree, we can give you the military token of Kanglang country immediately. It's up to you to decide how to deal with it in the future. But if you don't agree, even if you have wings, you will never be able to get out of the hands of these masters and soldiers around me. Zingshan laughed loudly, as if he had seen the day when they caught Bai Luo, owned an internet cafe, and reached the peak. I really give you face. Bai Luo was very dissatisfied with Zingshan's arrogant look. He looked like the emperor was first, and he was second. Who gave him such courage? He was very dissatisfied with the system's deliberate blackmail before. He thought that, after he came to this different world, he made all kinds of efforts. It was not easy to get close to the turnover, but the system took away his money through various tricks, and now he still owed a lot of debts. Not only did he get involved in the disputes of several countries, but now he had to face two bastards whose brains were unknown. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. In a rage, he stomped his foot hard on the ground, and the pressure that he had been suppressing was released without reservation at this moment. A huge purple gas ball suddenly burst out from his body, and Zingshan, who was closest to him, was immediately bounced back several meters away by the gas ball and hit heavily on a dragon-shaped pillar in the palace. Bai Luo raised his foot and kicked Liu Yui in the chest. He felt that this kick was as heavy as tens of millions of pounds, and a sharp pain came from his internal organs. Liu Yui's face twisted instantly. When he fell heavily to the ground, a small hole was smashed in the ground by him. I was talking to you with a smile just now. Do you think I'm incompetent? If you want to negotiate with me, go and practice for a few hundred years. Bai Luo snorted. Liu Yui's heart meridian was greatly affected by his kick. He couldn't help but spit out several mouthfuls of blood, and there was a golden star in front of his eyes. Bai Luo's figure flashed, and he appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. He stepped on his chest and slowly squatted down. If I kick you again, you will go straight to the king of hell. No, no, please let me go. Liu Yui spoke with difficulty, his eyes full of panic. He was considered a first-class master among several countries, but he didn't expect that Bai Luo's kick would seriously damage his heart meridian. How could he dare to stalemate with him, and kept begging for mercy. Senior, I didn't recognize the great man. Please let me go. Chapter 113 Crisis Resolved. What if I say I don't want to let you go? You didn't act like this when you were talking nonsense in front of me and trying to threaten me with those soldiers. It's my fault, senior. If you want any compensation, just ask. I will withdraw my troops immediately and will never cause trouble to you again. Liu Yui felt bitter. How could he meet such a powerful character as soon as he arrived? Then we have to see your sincerity, Bai Luo said, and crushed him twice with his feet. Liu Yui's cheeks twisted in pain, fearing that he would die if he kicked him again. He made a promise and said a long list of valuable things. Bai Luo finally moved his foot off Liu Yui's sternum proudly and patted the dust that didn't exist on his body. Then take your lacquers and leave quickly. You have 10 days to give me all the things, otherwise I won't regret it, senior. Please rest assured. Liu Yui promised immediately. As the rulers of a country, the two war armors with the strongest protective performance. They didn't expect that Bai Luo's move would throw them so far away. The giant and masters who followed behind Liu also had ugly faces. The purple gas shield was extremely corrosive. They didn't notice it just now, and a big hole was burned on the exposed skin on their bodies. It hasn't improved yet, and they don't know how to treat it. Liu didn't dare to waste time here, fearing that he would not survive if he couldn't get timely treatment, so he immediately turned around with his people. Wait, don't run. Bai Luo suddenly thought of something, rushed forward, and pulled Liu, who had already run onto the shuttle, down. Senior, what else do you want? Liu thought he wanted to kill someone, and was so anxious that he almost cried. I have something else I want more. Bai Luo suddenly remembered that Liu and his men still had a lot of troops, so it would be better to leave all these soldiers and let them continue to spend money in the internet cafe. This is a team of more than 10,000 people. If everyone stays in the internet cafe for a day, the turnover can be collected by half, right? At least the money owed before can be paid off. Senior, please spare my life. I really didn't mean it just now. Liu saw his eyes rolling, thinking that he had more vicious thoughts. In a hurry, he suddenly took out the life-saving jade token that the Holy Land gave them many years ago, which he was most reluctant to part with. A warm light flashed, and Bai Luo's hand slipped. Liu was like a cunning fox, and suddenly broke free from his hand, saying far away, "This is a treasure of the Holy Land. Many years ago, an ancestor of our country got it by chance. Consider it as me buying a life for you. Senior, I give it to you." The moment Liu's voice disappeared, the master behind him immediately followed him, and got on the shuttle and left. What is this thing? Bai Luo raised it, and looked at it. Xingqian behind him didn't even dare to breathe, but carefully gestured to let the soldiers come forward. He didn't believe that so many people couldn't deal with Bai Luo, and he didn't feel what it felt like to have his sternum almost broken, so he was quite brave now. What Bai Luo didn't know was that this jade token had an extraordinary origin. Generally speaking, only those who had made great help to the Holy Land had the opportunity to obtain it. Once you have this jade token, when you go out and meet someone from the Holy Land, the disciples of the Holy Land will do their best to help you when you are in danger. It is equivalent to a very good life-saving talisman. He looked at it over and over again, but didn't think it was useful, and it couldn't be cached, so he didn't plan to keep it. He thought about giving it back to Ao Angzu as a reward for her hard work. She has been working very hard in the internet cafe recently. Soon, the soldiers who were ejected just now, under the call of Xingqian, all aimed their most powerful weapons at Bai Luo. Bai Luo turned his head and looked at them, and suddenly laughed out loud. Are you going to attack me? Stop talking nonsense. Come here. Catch him immediately. If you can chop off his head, I will reward you handsomely. Xingqian climbed down from the pillar with difficulty, waved his hand, and said arrogantly. The soldiers rushed forward like crazy. Unexpectedly, at this moment, a clear voice came from outside. If you want to attack the noble in the palace of my Kanglang kingdom, you have to see if I agree. Zinayu, who was originally ordered to urge the masters to complete the quick training in the internet cafe, suddenly appeared with a large group of strong men. Looking at the aura around them, Bai Luo couldn't help laughing. The people you chose before are really good. I didn't expect that they have passed the third level of the game so quickly. He chose the king of fighters for them before. The skills in this game are relatively powerful and rough, and only people with a relatively high bloodline can practice them. Unexpectedly, their speed is not bad, and they have achieved a little success so quickly. Thanks to the boss's guidance, the combination of their practice and the game trial has achieved quite good results. Now it's time to formally test the results. Zinayu waved her hand, and these strong men immediately rushed towards the soldiers of Yan State. Xingqian was unwilling to give up, and rushed towards Bai Luo with her overlord spear in hand. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar's first release of this novel. Don't overestimate your own abilities. Bai Luo picked up a large mahogany chair nearby, injected his own energy into it, and then fiercely confronted the spear. Zingshan never expected that the magic weapon he got that year was not a match for this broken chair. A huge force rushed to his chest, and he was beaten back several steps. I'll go meet him. Zinai rubbed her hands excitedly, and when she was about to go up, Bai Luo grabbed her back. Save it, you have eaten so many of my good things, to be raised to this state, do you still want to get hurt? Zinai was embarrassed and quickly retreated. She hadn't asked the boss how much the herbs he had given her were worth. She had to pay him back, and couldn't let him suffer. I'll fight you. Zingshan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and rushed over again with red eyes. If you want to die, I'll grant your wish. Bai Luo laughed sarcastically, and a huge empty fist hit him hard in the chest. Zingshan was hit right on the spot, and the back of his chest sank at least an inch. A stream of blood suddenly gushed out of his mouth, and his eyes widened. After he successfully advanced to the golden core, he hadn't felt this close to death for many years. Is this person a monster? How can he have such a high level of cultivation at such a young age? The strong men brought by Zinai are much more powerful than these soldiers, but it took less than an hour to almost beat the Yan country soldiers. Chapter 114. Wait and see for a few days. Zingshan finally realized that Bai Luo had something extremely powerful that could improve his strength. He glared at him fiercely. You, don't be so proud. Why am I so proud? You are the one who insisted on going against me. You were the one who attacked me just now. Do you blame me? Bai Luo looked at him mockingly. Zingshan was so angry that he vomited several mouthfuls of blood. Before he fainted, he cursed him. Soon someone stronger will come to find you. I will not let you go even if I die. The several giant and masters behind him saw that Zingshan was already on the verge of death. They were very worried. They quickly supported their last breath of strength, called some soldiers who were not particularly seriously injured, and quickly got him out. Will he die? In the blink of an eye, the number of soldiers on the ground decreased by nearly 20%. Zinai came forward to ask Bai Luo whether he's dead or alive. What does it have to do with me? Who made him attack me first? Okay, now the crisis of your Kanglang country has been resolved. You don't need my help for the next thing, right? Bai Luo looked at the blood all around him and felt disgusted. He quickly performed a cleaning calligraphy to wash his whole body. He had a problem. When the situation was not particularly critical, he didn't really like the cleaning technique. Only when he got wet did he feel that he had really taken a clean bath. Boss, don't worry. Leave the things here to me. Okay, then you can do it. By the way, don't commit too many murders. You can do it yourself with those people. Bai Luo pointed to the seriously injured Yan country soldier on the ground. Boss, I got it. Zinai looked at him with great gratitude. Then, she summoned the soldiers of Kanglang country and these strong men to help, and locked up all those people. As for what the boss said, she could listen or not kill them. But Kanglang country still had a lot of military buildings to build. They could be forced to stay and become slaves of Kanglang country. This was a very cost-effective deal. After returning to the internet cafe, Bai Luo immediately rushed to his previous dormitory and washed himself thoroughly from head to toe. He finally felt alive again. Before he knew it, it was already afternoon. Zinai had just brought a large number of strong men over, and the internet cafe was suddenly emptier, leaving space for other people. After sending everyone away, Bai Luo sat at the table, looking at the scenery outside the window with some boredom. Boss, the crisis of Kanglang country has been resolved. What are you going to do next? Are we going back? Gao Yang Chen asked. Don't worry, let's take a look here first. The flow of money during this period is not bad. I always feel that the issue of Kanglang country has not been completely resolved. Let's wait and see for 2 more days. The clouds in the sky were as red as if they were stained with blood, which made Bai Luo feel a little depressed. In that case, let's go to the forest and take a look. Leng Yu showed me the map a few days ago. There are many fierce beasts with ancient blood in the forest. If we extract the blood of the beasts, we can refine a lot of blood essence pills and true blood pills. Many pills need their blood as a guide. Do you want to go with me? Betty Minglan took the initiative to invite Yang Chen. Among these people, she had a good impression of Yang Chen. Although he was sometimes stubborn, He was easy to get along with most of the time, and he was also quite caring towards women. Of course, she didn't think she was a delicate woman who needed to be cared for in every way. She asked Yang Chen to go with her in order to fight side by side. Okay, I have no problem. Yang Chen agreed immediately, and the two looked at Bai Luo quietly. Go ahead, go ahead. I can also think about the countermeasures behind carefully by myself. And be careful when you go out. Bai Luo waved his hand to drive him away. The two packed up, not afraid of the night at all, and directly took their respective flying magic weapons to the nearby swamp forest. Before, Xinayu accidentally got out of the forest alive. In order to thank them for taking care of her during this period, she told them about the ferocious beasts she encountered in the forest. However, Betty Minglan was completely dismissive of this. In her eyes, those so-called ferocious beasts were not worth mentioning at all. Moreover, their strength and cultivation were not very good. At that time, it was because Xinayu was scared, and there was no one to help her. She was not experienced in combat, so she was forced to be in a hurry. If it were me, I would definitely solve it quickly. After appearing at the edge of the swamp forest with Yang Chen, Betty Minglan called him. Should we go directly to the center, or search slowly from the edge? I can do both. Let's go from the edge. If we encounter something we haven't seen before, we can record it when we take pictures, so that we can remind our citizens later. As expected of the Prince of Xiangsuan country, you are very thoughtful. I can also stay. Maybe the Holy Land can use it in the future. Betty Minglan looked at him approvingly. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus underscore. Although her expression was still cold, she would not be sarcastic when cooperating with capable people. She was a very conscientious and powerful partner. Yang Chen was different from what she thought. Although his strength in the internet cafe had improved a lot during this period, he could already be among the top masters. However, they had never been to this swamp forest before, so they could not rush directly to the center. No one knew what level of beast was sitting in the center of such a huge forest, and there were no other helpers around them. If the boss was here, he would dare to go in and try, but the boss was not here at the moment, so he could not do anything. The sky had not yet become completely dark, and with the eyesight of the two, it was still no problem to deal with the beasts around. However, less than 10 miles ahead, they had already hunted and killed many beasts. But without exception, the size of these beasts was much larger than those they had seen before. Betty Minglan picked up a rabbit that was more than 1 meter long and asked Yang Chen beside her, "Isn't this a bloodthirsty unicorn rabbit? I remember they were not so big before, right?" She had seen it before. The unicorn rabbit had a pair of extremely developed hind legs, and it jumped like a kangaroo. The meat on its hind legs was also extremely delicious, but she had never seen one so big. Maybe it's because the conditions in this forest are quite special, so the ferocious beasts have all been mutated. Yang Chen answered subconsciously. In that case, I'll catch more and take them back for a closer look. Just as the two were talking, a flash of purple passed by. Betty Minglan took a closer look, and his eyes suddenly lit up. It turned out to be a purple martin, and a pair of them. It just so happens that one of my junior sisters likes this kind of furry thing very much. I'll catch one for her, and she will definitely be happy. Chapter 115 Collective Alienation. Betty Minglan moved her hand, and her life magic weapon immediately turned into a long whip, whistling and rushing towards Diana. But she didn't expect that the speed of this sable was much faster than she had seen before, and she couldn't catch it, even after swinging the whip several times. Perhaps because they saw that humans wanted to attack them, the sables were stimulated, and they began to bar their teeth and pounce towards Betty Minglan angrily. Be careful. How can the beasts in this forest be so cruel? Yang Chen pulled her back and rushed forward with a long sword in hand. The size of this sable is also much larger than ordinary ones, at least 2 or 3 meters tall and more than 1 meter wide, with a shiny purple fur. If it is used to make a mink coat, one piece is enough for 2 adults to make a gorgeous outfit. But I have never seen them so ferocious before, and our Yang Chen is a little difficult to understand. Purple gold sable is a pet that most female cultivators like very much, and it has always been known for its speed. But because of this, its temper is relatively docile. If it is beaten, it will never resist. How did they encounter such a bad temper this time? Could it be the purple gold Martin King? The two worked together for half an hour before they finally subdued the purple gold Martin couple. But the Martin had a terrible temper. She never thought about living under the hands of humans. She actually exploded her inner elixir and died in front of the two. Strange, there is still Teoti blood in the Martin. I have never heard of any kinship between the purple gold Martin and the Teoti. Betty Minglan asked curiously. The purple gold Martin was already dead, and its fur was greatly affected. She had no choice but to collect all the blood of the beast first. But when she was absorbing the blood, she smelled a very faint smell of Teoti. I also find it strange, and the fierce beast we hunted just now was more or less mixed with a trace of Teoti. What's going on? Gao Yang Chen followed. The two looked around. They had just cleared out all the beasts in this area, of all kinds. There were at least dozens of herbivores, carnivores, and even those that swam in the water. However, it was impossible that Teoti had had any relationship with the ancestors of these beasts over the years, right? Teoti was not a lustful beast and had a rebellious character. It should not have anything to do with beasts that were much weaker than it in terms of cultivation and bloodline. Just when the two were puzzled, the spirit stone in Betty Mingland's sleeve suddenly flashed. Gao Yang Chen knew that this was a communication talisman from the Holy Land and immediately turned around like a gentleman. You take a look first, I'll deal with the fur next to you. Betty Mingland nodded, quite satisfied with his sense of the times. After turning around and walking several meters away, she opened the distress talisman and found that it was indeed a message from the Holy Land. She quickly sent a string of characters back. The message from the Holy Land soon came again, asking her to stop investigating the matter. After Betty Mingland finished reading, his expression suddenly became very serious, and he quickly asked, "Why can't we investigate? It just so happens that we are in this very dense forest. Maybe if we go to the center, we will have a unique discovery. Anyway, don't investigate anymore. This is the order conveyed by the elders. If something goes wrong, we can't afford the consequences. Let's wait until you come back and then form a team to go out and have a look. If you face the Teoti alone, you can't escape unscathed." Betty Mingland gritted his teeth, feeling very unhappy. The senior brother who was communicating over there comforted her for a few words and quickly cut off the contact. Gao Yang Chen didn't ask, but just looked at her face suddenly became very ugly, which was very strange. After dealing with the beasts that had been hunted under his hands, Betty Mingland suddenly called him. "Let's go back. There are so many beast blood, fur, and skeletons. It's enough for us to use for a while. Beast blood can be used to refine various true blood pills and essence blood pills, and can also be used as medicine. The fur can be used to make a lot of mink coats. Of course, even if you can't wear them all, you can sell them outside. You can also collect them after they are brewed and hand them over to the sect. They can all be exchanged for contribution points. The bone frame cannot be wasted. Soaking them with other precious medicinal materials will make a nourishing medicinal wine. An elder in the Holy Land likes it very much. I can give him some in the future. When you are away from home, you have to be frugal. Without the various supplies from the sect, even the saint girl doesn't want to waste any of the fruits of her labor. Aren't you going to go inside? Didn't you just say that you want to investigate the Teoti bloodline and these beasts? Maybe you will find something if you go inside. We have only walked about 10% or 20% of the way." Gao Yang Chen didn't want to give up. The ones here are already so powerful. He really doesn't want to leave like this. He wants to walk inside and exercise more. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR is the first to publish this novel. I'm not going in. Just now, the Holy Land sent a message that I'm not allowed to take care of this matter. I'm leaving first. Betty Mingland was very determined. The sky in the distance suddenly darkened. Gao Yang Chen hesitated, but finally followed her and left. He wanted to ask the boss what he thought about this matter first. Unconsciously, he had regarded Bai Luo as an encyclopedia around him and wanted to ask about everything. Unexpectedly, when they went to ask about this matter, Bai Luo was more shocked than the two of them. But at this moment, he had more important things to do, so he could only ask them to help take care of the internet cafe first. Xinyu had already sent him a message, and next he planned to use iron-blooded means to completely clean up the other rebels in Kangalang country, and he needed him to help deter them. Of course, the reward offered by Xinyu was also quite generous. Bai Luo asked the system, and learned that this normal thank you fee could be collected. He immediately smiled, and hurriedly followed Xinyu, acting as a very dedicated bodyguard and thug. Once he met someone who didn't know how to behave, and thought Xinyu was young, and jumped up and down in front of her. Bai Luo could beat him half to death with just a flick of his finger. Those people finally realized that there was a very important person next to Xinyu. After Bai Luo dealt with more than a dozen ministers who had previously been in the same party as the national master, he finally didn't encounter anyone who took the initiative to provoke them. For 7 or 8 consecutive days, Xinyu was busy like a top every day. Not only did she deal with all the people who had been in the same party as the prime minister and threw them into prison, she also dealt with the ministers who were swayed by a little pillow talk. Demotion and salary deduction were trivial matters. Bai Luo would whip dozens of them casually, making those ministers with low cultivation cry for their parents. After being busy for half a month, everything was finally handled. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116. The power is out. Xinyu specially promoted some ordinary but capable people under Bai Luo's suggestion and let them sit in very important positions in Kangalang country. The people who had greatly strengthened their strength after training in the internet cafe were also placed in various important departments of the army by her. Now Kangalang country has undergone a major change of blood, and she also has most of her confidants. Finally, it's almost done. I'm really exhausted. Xinyu dismissed everyone around her, leaving only Bai Luo to sit in the side hall, and fell on the large couch without any image. For half a month, she could only sleep for 1 or 2 hours a day at most, and even an iron body could not stand it. Bai Luo waved his hand, and gave her a bottle of true blood pill, leaning on the table next to her, and feasting on it. The chef here is quite good. The food he made for me is all spiritual energy. It's a waste. Boss, you are joking. Xinyu ate a true blood pill, and felt the majestic blood source power rushing directly into her stomach. She was instantly full of energy, and looked at him gratefully. If it weren't for the boss's help, I wouldn't have been able to solve all of them in such a short time. If the boss needs anything in the future, just tell me, I will never refuse. Okay, I got it. The two talked for a while. Xinyu sent away the minister who came to discuss important matters with her, and then went back to the internet cafe with Bai Luo to take a look. She still had important things that needed our Yangzu's help. Xinyu was extremely polite, handed her handwritten letter to our Yangzu, and said gently, this time, thanks to the great help of Xiangsuan Kingdom, if the princess goes back, please tell your majesty about this matter. I'm willing to have a long-term friendship with Xiangsuan Kingdom. Okay, I will tell my father about this, and he shouldn't refuse. Her brother ran outside with Betty Minglan again. Even the matter of the two countries' friendship had to be handled by her, a princess, and she felt a little curious. What are you going to do next? She carefully put away the things and asked proactively. It felt like only more than half a month, and Xinyu seemed to have grown up a lot. I plan to attack Yan country. Xinyu did not hide anything from the people who stayed in the internet cafe. Yan country is too arrogant, and if it weren't for the big cleanup this time, I would never have discovered that Yan country and Xiling country have planted so many spies here for so many years. Taking advantage of the fact that Kangalang country is strong and has also produced a group of masters, I plan to catch them off guard. Xinyu respected and trusted Bai Luo very much, and felt that he knew everything. After a few words with our Yangzu, she turned around and looked at him very politely. Boss, what do you think? What do you think is the chance of my attacking Yan country this time? I don't care about this matter. I just want to increase the turnover as soon as possible. There are so many things going on recently that I haven't had time to settle the accounts. Bai Luo shook his head. This is what he really cares about now, and Liao Yui has already run away with his people. He was injured so badly before that he can't recover without a year or two, and it is estimated that there will be hidden dangers. After seeing his true strength, he must not dare to mess around. As for Yan country, it is unknown how many hidden forces there are in the country, but this is something Zenyu needs to consider. He only wants to make money and does not want to get too involved in the affairs of these countries. Zenyu also understood his thoughts and immediately said very tactfully, "Boss, don't worry. The subsequent development of Kangalang country still depends on the help of the internet cafe. I have arranged it. At dawn tomorrow, many people I have just placed in the army will come to the internet cafe to continue to improve their strength." "I know. Thank you for your hard work. You two can talk for a while, and I will settle the accounts." Zenyu nodded and talked to Iangzu about various things that happened recently. About 10 days later, Lengyu's condition finally got better. As the baby in her belly grew day by day, she needed to eat a lot of food containing spiritual energy and huge energy every day to replenish herself, otherwise she would be sick lying in bed all day. Thanks to Yang Chen and his energetic people, they ran to the swamp forest all day. Part of the things they got back were used for daily needs, and the other part was sold to Lengyu. Of course, the price was quite cheap, and Lengyu also remembered the kindness of the two of them. But after half a month, the army that Zenyu trusted had been trained almost completely. Just when she was sharpening her knife and preparing to attack Yan country, Bai Luo ran into trouble. One day, he had just gotten up and was about to check the internet cafe to make sure there was no problem before officially opening the door to welcome customers, but suddenly found that the internet cafe had a power outage. He hurried to check around, and his face became very ugly. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR released this novel for the first time. Hearing the sound of him running, Yao Yangzu rubbed her eyes and walked out. Hanging in the brocade bag in front of her chest was the jade token from the Holy Land that Bai Luo had given her before. She regarded this thing as a token of love given to her by Bai Luo, and she also restrained her spoiled and domineering temperament in front of her, yawning and asking him, "What happened? Why is it so dark in the room? You didn't even turn on the lights." "There's a power outage in the internet cafe." Bai Luo sat on the chair next to him with a depressed look on his face. "Didn't I cut a lot of firewood before? How come there is a sudden power outage? What happened? Is the Kangalang country in crisis?" Yao Yangzu was half awakened from her sleep in an instant. "Wait a minute, I'll go check it out again. Maybe it was affected by the thunder yesterday. Go and clean it up." While checking the main switch, Bai Luo hurriedly questioned the system. "What happened again? Didn't you tell me that the electricity of the internet cafe is provided by firewood? There is a mountain of firewood piled up in my backyard. How come there is a sudden power outage?" "Host, there is nothing I can do." The system's voice was also weak. "You asked me for too many things before, and I haven't paid you back yet. Now I've been squeezed dry and can't continue to provide you with things. The higher-ups have no choice but to cut off the power supply to the internet cafe. If you want to continue running the business, you can only go to this world to collect more materials, which may provide electricity." What the hell is this? Do the guys over there have any credibility? Why do they change their excuses every now and then? Are they teasing me on purpose? Bai Luo was almost mad. He finally had a very stable turnover now, and he should be able to achieve his goal soon. The system hasn't caused him any trouble recently. He thought that, when he was finally lucky, another bolt from the blue hit him. Why was his luck so bad? Chapter 117 Required Materials. Host, I can't do anything. Didn't you hear how weak I'm now? Power outage is just a small matter. If you continue to force the operation, the internet cafe will probably explode completely, and you will be responsible for many lives. If the system can become a real life form, it will probably have been beaten black and blue by Bai Luo by now. He couldn't help but growl a few times. Is collecting materials the only way? Nothing else works? Yes, host, I risked my old face and asked the higher ups what materials are available. I'll show you. You go out and look for them first. Besides, you've been too busy recently. You should have a good rest. Rest. Bai Luo couldn't help but swear. Tell me the truth. How many times have you gone back on your word since you sent me to this hellhole? You don't have any credibility with me. If I go out to collect materials now, you will tell me that the internet cafe needs energy, even if there are no customers every day. You will make me owe you a lot of debts, right? I'm really convinced. Why did I follow you in such a hot-headed way? Host, I promise that I will never deduct money while you are collecting materials, and I will continue to protect the internet cafe for you. When you come back, you will definitely become a wealthy man in a short time. I have a hunch that you will definitely meet a lot of loyal brothers when you go out this time. In the future, you can form a very powerful team. No one will dare to bully you then. The system knew that Bai Luo was really angry this time and quickly comforted him. No one dares to bully me now. Bai Luo couldn't help but scold the system. But there was no way. The internet cafe had no electricity and could not operate at all. He could only take the list from the system. But after a casual scan, he found that there were many things he didn't know and didn't recognize, so he continued to scold the system. The system could only explain with a low head. Host, you go out first. I will be able to sense when I find these materials and remind you. Bai Luo almost couldn't help but spit out a series of swear words. After thinking about it, he kept taking deep breaths. It's not good to be too irritable. Anger hurts the liver and harms your body. There is no need to argue with these conscienceless guys. After he slowly calmed down, he could only collect the list of materials and gather all the people who were still in the internet cafe. Do you mean that the internet cafe is going to be closed now? What about the people in Xiangsuan country? Betty Minglan supported her chin with one hand and yawned. She hadn't woken up yet. Boss, is there really no way to restore the power? If there are any materials you need, please tell us, and we can raise them. Gao Yangchen was anxious. After seeing the benefits of the internet cafe, he wished that it could continue to operate, and it would be best if it could benefit his descendants. Of course, he didn't even see the shadow of his descendants now, but it didn't prevent him from having a very beautiful and optimistic imagination about it. Here is the list of materials. I have never seen many of them. Take a look. Bai Luo was helpless. Among these people, Dao Yangchen and Betty Minglan were the most knowledgeable, but even Betty Minglan had hardly seen these things. She suddenly asked, what is the origin of Wang Bei? Over the years, I have been to many places and sects, but I have never heard of such a magical place. Just playing games, without any physical pain, will greatly increase your strength. No one can give up such a place, right? Thanks to Bai Luo's strong strength, the internet cafe was not taken away by other forces. Well, Bai Luo touched his chin, looking unfathomable. The internet cafe is actually an artifact made of countless materials that I got from a very powerful predecessor by chance. In other words, Wang Bei was created by the method of refining. It's amazing. I thought it was a trial place created by some powerful people together. It's just because it's too powerful, so there is only such a small area. Betty Minglan said as in a guess. Bai Luo thought her argument was actually quite good, but he had already said it and couldn't take it back, so he could only shake his head. This should be related to refining equipment, but I don't know much about it. But that great man told me that internet cafes need electricity to maintain. If the previous power is exhausted, you need to find enough materials. It's also my fault that I didn't remind you before. I didn't expect that there were so many customers coming to the internet cafe every day, and the power was exhausted in advance. This is also normal. Betty Minglan rarely comforted him. I have never seen such amazing refining equipment. It is very common to need a lot of powerful things as support. If it can be run for a long time without anything, I think it's a scam. Next I have to go out. I have to go to many places, and the first stop cannot be Xiangsuan country. Bai Luo looked at Yangzu tentatively, not knowing whether the two brothers and sisters could go with him. Yangzu thought about it. Xinyu had asked her for something very important before. After hesitating for a moment, she could only say, can I go back to Xiangsuan country first? Zinayu told me about the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Okay, then you go back first. Bai Luo had no objection. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR published this novel for the first time. Sister, I'll give you the flying magic weapon. This time I may have to go with the boss. Gao Yangchen quickly interjected. No, you go with Ao Yangzu. Bai Luo was not very reassured. Among the few people, Gao Yangzu's cultivation is the bottom. Although her medical skills have achieved some success now, when she encounters danger outside, it is not enough to have medical skills. Strong strength is the most important. He told Ao Yangchen, you go back and explain this matter to the emperor first, and then come to meet me. I will leave a communication talisman for you. Ao Yangchen thought about it and did not force it. Going out with the boss to practice, it is of course important to keep getting stronger, but he can't ignore the safety of his sister, so he can only agree. What about you? Bai Luo turned his head and looked at Benny Minglan. Thinking of what her senior brother from the Holy Land had told her before, Benny Minglan could only reply, I have to go back to the Holy Land to take a look. Of course, I will come to join you after I have settled the things at hand. She instinctively felt that it might be more beneficial to follow Bai Luo than to practice in seclusion in the Holy Land. Moreover, she had never even heard of the materials Bai Luo needed, and she could go back and ask the elders in the Holy Land. If there were some that could be exchanged, it would be the best, and she could also do him a favor, and maybe she could arrange for disciples to come for the trial in the future. Okay, Bai Luo continued to nod. Chapter 118, The Rabbit Transforms. In this case, you will only have Leng Yu by your side, but Leng Yu's health. Gao Yangzu was a little worried. The thing in Leng Yu's stomach was very strange, and she didn't know who her father was. She was really a big eater. Leng Yu couldn't even take care of the internet cafe during this period. She might be a burden to Bai Luo. I have my own plan for this. Don't worry. Go back first. The internet cafe is out of power now. I'll tell Zinayu not to arrange anyone to come. After Bai Luo solved the things on his hands as quickly as possible, he told everyone to act on their own and try to reunite as soon as possible. Everyone still respected him very much. After agreeing, they quickly packed up and prepared to leave. Watching them get on the shuttle and leave, Bai Luo turned around and greeted Leng Yu. I plan to go back to the internet cafe in Xiangsuan country and take Xiao with me. What do you think? I will follow the boss wherever he goes. I have no objection. Leng Yu agreed quickly. In fact, she also wanted to see Xiao too. She hadn't seen it for so many days, and the boss didn't arrange anyone to find it. She was very nervous. Then let's go. Tell me if you feel uncomfortable on the way. Bai Luo took a look at her belly. It's still flat now. I really don't know what kind of strange child she will give birth to in the future. Leng Yu smiled shyly, got on the small spaceship with him, and soon arrived at the internet cafe of Xiangsuan country. The reason why Bai Luo didn't go with Ao Yangchen and the others this time was that he didn't want to be involved in the fight between several countries and planned to let them deal with it themselves. Secondly, he came back this time to collect materials. Gao Yangzu's strength was too low, and it was troublesome enough for him to follow Leng Yu. He didn't want to waste time with one more person, so he planned to take the little rabbit with him and leave immediately. They were lucky. Teoti was still in the internet cafe. Before, it was walking around outside randomly and went to several places. In the end, it didn't know what guided it, but it returned to the internet cafe. It just encountered trouble as soon as it came back. When it saw Bai Luo appear, it rushed forward and told him about the bizarre incident in the internet cafe. I know, there is no electricity here either. After Bai Luo checked it, he found that it was really the case, so he could only pick up the little rabbit. I have to go out to collect materials this time. You come with me. Leng Yu is not in good health. You know that I can feel more at ease with you around. Am I going with you too? Where are the others? Feeling the familiar smell on Bai Luo, Teoti felt a little relieved for some reason. How could this happen? It laughed at itself several times in its heart. After all, it was also a fierce beast with ancient blood. Why did it become so indecisive now? They have other things to deal with. This time we will form a team. What exactly is it? You have to come and find it yourself. Didn't you say that everything in the internet cafe has been prepared before? Teoti found it a little difficult to understand. Although it knew that the internet cafe was a very magical place and it must not be easy to operate, it saw Bai Luo's calm appearance before and thought that someone was supporting him behind the scenes and whatever was needed would be prepared in advance. Unexpectedly, he still had to find it himself. Here is the list. Let me show you. Bai Luo waved his hand and shook out a piece of paper. Len Yu came forward and took a careful look at the items on the list. She couldn't help but gasp. She just glanced at it casually before, and she didn't think much about it, because she didn't want to go out with Bai Luo and the others. But she was the ruler of a country after all, so she had the necessary knowledge. After seeing clearly what the items were, she couldn't help but smile bitterly. No wonder the boss came out to look for them himself. Many of these things are only recorded in ancient books, and I have never seen them. Yes, but since it's an internet cafe, I can understand it. Teoti agreed. Yes, it's normal for such a powerful place to need a lot of things. Len Yu hurriedly tried to comfort herself. Apart from other things, the boss's cultivation alone is already quite terrifying. The one who provided him with the internet cafe must be a powerful person. Such a powerful place needs countless rare things as support, which she can understand. Some of them I haven't heard of. Forget it. Let's go and take a look together. Maybe we can find them in other countries. Teoti accepted it very quickly. Anyway, it has transformed itself a lot over the years to go to other places to take a look and has seen a lot of things. And its body is so strong that it has never worried about encountering danger outside. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR first published this novel. Boss, I have heard of 2 materials. They are probably in Changlian Mountains. Do you want to go and have a look? But that mountain range is very large, and I heard that there are many ferocious beasts. Will it be just you, me and Zhao too? Len Yu was a little worried. No matter how dangerous it is, you have to go. Otherwise the internet cafe will not be able to operate, and I still lack a large part of the turnover. Bai Luo stopped Len Yu from saying the rest. If you are afraid, follow me. No, I will stand with the boss. Len Yu quickly expressed his attitude. Bai Luo glanced at her and said nothing. Now that he was closer to her, Teoti could feel his blood in her stomach, and this feeling made him feel very novel. But it had never felt this way before, and it didn't dare to shamelessly ask Len Yu what it felt like to have its own blood in its belly. It was so anxious at the moment. This is the Changlian Mountains. Bai Luo was very fast. He took them forward in a small spaceship. It didn't take long for them to reach the place Len Yu mentioned just now. After getting off the small spaceship, he looked around carefully and listened carefully. There seemed to be a lot of roars of wild beasts inside. He suddenly nodded at Teoti's head. Are there any ferocious beasts you know in there? Otherwise, you can try to build relationships with them. Maybe they can come out to lead the way for us. You wish. I didn't live in the same place as them before. Every forest has its own leader. They may not listen to me. Teoti had just finished speaking, and the puppy that was in Bai Luo's arms just now turned into a black-haired young man. Bai Luo was stunned by its transformation. He circled around it in astonishment. Are you a little rabbit? Yes. Teoti nodded, suppressing the uncomfortable feeling in his heart. This name is really embarrassing. It is an ancient fierce beast, but it was given such a name. How did you turn into a human form? You never told us before. Bai Luo was extremely embarrassed. Teoti could only bite the bullet and said, just now I smelled the scent of the transformation grass. When you were talking to Len Yu, I quietly used my soul power to hook 2 plants over. I just ate them, and I didn't expect that I could turn into a human. Chapter 119. Breaking the Seal. Even dogs can become humans? This is really eye-opening. Bai Luo was shocked beyond words. Len Yu saw that he opened his mouth for a long time and couldn't close it, so he could only come forward and explain embarrassedly. Boss, the bloodline of the little rabbit may not be that simple. He appeared in the form of a dog before because he didn't want to be noticed. Yes, in fact, I'm a divine beast with ancient bloodline, but because of some troublesome things, I can't show my true identity in front of you. Teoti turned around in front of Bai Luo very proudly. You should accept my appearance as soon as possible, but if there is a need in the future, I will still appear in your arms in the form of a little rabbit. Is there any objection? Don't worry, it will be more beneficial for you if I become a human. Okay, Bai Luo took a long time to finally accept this matter under Leng Yu's persuasion and pointed to the front. In that case, you and Leng Yu team up and let's go together. Time is running out and who knows where to find other materials. Let's go. Leng Yu took the initiative to extend her hand to Teoti. You just turned into a human form and you may not be used to it. I will go with you. If you need anything, just tell me and I will help you. Teoti looked at her gratefully and then stretched out a hand to support Leng Yu's arm. Although it can be seen that she is trying her best to endure, it seems that she doesn't feel good in such a forest. As soon as she came in, her face turned pale. Teoti thought about it and quickly released some of his blood energy to soothe the restless child in her belly. Leng Yu was grateful and quietly moved closer to it. As they continued to walk inside, unknowingly, their relationship became much closer, and Teoti responded to Leng Yu's concern. Bai Luo was very surprised, turned around and joked, I didn't expect you to care about others. Leng Yu is not feeling well now, you take good care of her. If she can't walk fast, you should walk slower. I will explore the way ahead. Got it, I will support her, nothing will happen. Teoti agreed solemnly. The deeper they went into the forest, the worse the smell became. Teoti thought about it, and finally found a mask in his stomach space for Leng Yu to wear, and said a little embarrassedly, this mask can resist the attacks of various poisons in this forest to a great extent. Be careful, if you can't walk, tell me, I will carry you. Got it, I'm fine, it's okay. Leng Yu felt warm in her heart, and felt that Xiao Tu was not as difficult to approach as he had shown before. At least his attitude towards her has become much better now. It should be in front. I have already sensed the information of the unique material. You two wait outside, I will go in and look for it. Bai Luo suddenly said. In fact, this was what the system told him. When he came here, the system repeatedly assured him that once it sensed the information of those materials, it would remind him immediately. Otherwise, even if he entered the treasure house, Bai Luo would not know what materials he needed. You guys step back a little. Bai Luo led the way and walked into the cave first. As soon as he came in, he found that there was a huge difference between this cave and the outside. It looked very ordinary from the outside, without any special features. After entering, he found that this cave was quite large, and there were several forks in the road. He didn't know where to go. Teoti observed the movement in front and suddenly said, this cave is sealed by a seal. Do you know how to unlock it? Seal. Bai Luo touched his chin and suddenly opened his eyes. The layers of the illusion in front of him were dispersed, and he found that there was indeed a huge golden disc about 20 steps away from them. It was just that it might have been a long time, and the light on the disc was much dimmer, and there were some cracks. Even if they don't come this time, it's estimated that someone else will accidentally unlock the seal in a short time. I'll give it a try. I've seen a lot of such seal formations in books before. Bai Luo pretended to know everything about astronomy and geography, and sat down cross-legged on the ground. After carefully deducing it, he followed the instructions of the system, and took out an ancient compass from the Kyankan bag. Leng Yu felt very bad after entering this cave. Even though she had the mask given to her by Teoti to resist the attack of poison, the ancient beast Kyanki was suppressed in this cave. Even if it was suppressed by the seal now, the occasional breath leaking out was still quite unfriendly to Leng Yu. She turned pale as soon as she came in, and every step she took felt as heavy as if her feet were filled with lead, and she couldn't lift them for a long time. Seeing that she really couldn't walk anymore, Teoti quickly helped her sit down in a relatively plain place, with concern in his eyes. Can you still walk? It's a bit difficult. Leng Yu shook her head at it. Why don't you and the boss go in first? I'll sit here for a while and promise not to run around. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR released this novel for the first time. Let's go in together. Well, this seal is not that great. As soon as Bai Luo finished speaking, Leng Yu turned around and was surprised to find that the golden seal had been broken by him and a big hole appeared in front of him. How did you remove the seal? Teoti smelled a familiar breath and immediately felt something was wrong. It was just an accident. Aren't you all watching? I got a spirit tablet and prepared some materials. I didn't expect that this seal was so fragile. It must have been a long time ago, so I found a loophole. Do you want to go in and take a look together? Bai Luo was very calm. Although most systems are unreliable and always set traps for him, the materials prepared for him are really complete. Teoti was a little hesitant. Leng Yu was in a bad condition, and she was carrying her own flesh and blood. It was impossible for it to put Leng Yu down and go in like this. Bai Luo also saw its hesitation and clapped his hands. You take good care of Leng Yu here. I'll go in and take a look. Anyway, with my cultivation, most things can't do anything to me. After saying that, he went straight into the dark hole. Is the boss okay? Leng Yu looked at that direction nervously and suddenly felt a little useless. After coming out, her body was always uncomfortable and she didn't know if it would delay their progress. It's okay, I'll stay here with you. Teoti simply sat down beside her. With its energy to comfort her, the child in Leng Yu's belly would be much more obedient, and her face looked better before long. Bai Luo walked inside along the hole, and the more he walked, the more he felt that the breath inside was a little strange. It was a little irritable and bloody, but mixed with a little bit of the innocent breath that only children would have, which surprised him. Chapter 120, Kyanki appears. After walking for about a quarter of an hour, there was no road ahead. There was a huge space in front of him. In the stone plate in front of him, which was like a lotus petal, there was a small figure. Bai Luo was brave and rushed forward with a few big steps. He was surprised to find that the lotus petal was quite special. He reached out and touched it. It was like a very unique stalactite. It was warm to the touch, but it was a little softer. Each petal was shining with a very bright light, as if it had vitality. In the center of the stone plate, there was a child who looked only a few years old. The child's eyes were tightly closed, and his small body was curled up. Perhaps because he sensed the information of an outsider, the child slowly opened his eyes, rubbed his eyelids, and looked at Bai Luo in surprise. Who are you? I stumbled in by accident. Are you the owner of this cave? Bai Luo squatted down in front of the child curiously. The child's eyes were surprisingly bright, and it felt like nothing could be hidden in front of him. I don't know either. The child shook his head, his eyes full of confusion. Can you take me out? I don't know how I got here. You are not the owner of this cave. Bai Luo subconsciously held the child's hand. The child looked very harmless and didn't seem to be lethal at all. I don't know either. Anyway, I was here after waking up, and you seem to be the first person I saw. Then I'll take you out to see. Maybe I can even meet your parents. Bai Luo didn't think that the child was not human at first. Although the aura on him was very special, after arriving in this alien world, the little rabbit was still the first fierce beast he saw that could transform into a human form. He didn't think that other species would be the same, so he didn't take it to heart. Teoti looked at him leading a child out of the cave, and his face suddenly changed. Bai Luo didn't know who it was, but Teoti was quite familiar with the fierce beast Kyanki who was in the same era as him. Tens of thousands of years ago, the relationship between the two sides was not very good, and they often fought. Because the killing power of both sides was too strong, they were suppressed by the heavenly Dao, and dispersed to two places far apart in the south and the north. However, how could Kyanki be brought out by Bai Luo? And it was in the form of a child. It originally thought that it had not seen Kyanki for a long time, and it had died long ago. Why did you bring it out? Teoti rushed forward with a few big steps, with a look of disapproval on his face. Do you know who he is? I don't know, but after entering the cave, I saw this child. He seemed to know nothing. We cultivators must have a kind heart, so I brought him out. From the looks of you, do you know him? Bai Luo looked at the little rabbit and the child curiously. Could they be of the same kind? Teoti was too embarrassed to tell him the true identity of Kyanki, so he could only say vaguely, a child has lived in such a secret cave for many years. Don't you think it's strange? Teoti guessed. Could it be that Teoti lost his memory because he was sealed in this cave for too long? It looked at the golden halo just now. The one who sealed Kyanki must have been a great immortal. Could it be that when sealing Kyanki, he also took away its memory? Seeing that the little rabbit looked a little strange, Bai Luo could probably guess that the child's origin was unusual. He thought for a while, squatted down gently, and touched the child's head. I have taken you out. I will prepare some food for you. You can go out and find your family. We have something important to do and cannot bring you with us. When Bai Luo led the child out just now, he touched his pulse and did not feel any blood element. He thought that the child had come in by accident like them, but was trapped in this cave for some reason. But he came out this time to find various very rare materials, and he really didn't have time to waste on others. If possible, he hoped to find the materials as soon as possible with Leng Yu and the others. Can't you take me with you? The child raised his head, pleading. I can't eat much, and I don't know where my family is now. Can you take me to find them? I promise not to cause any trouble for you. No, I'll give you enough food, and you can survive well in this cave, and there will definitely be no big problems in other places. I really can't take you with me. Bai Luo didn't want to bring such a burden. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus book bar's first novel. And who knows what the origin of this child is? What if he carries some hatred? He doesn't want to be involved in those messy things. Why don't you take him with you? Teoti was worried that letting Kyanki walk outside would cause huge trouble, and he actually lowered his head in front of Bai Luo for the first time and begged in a low voice. Leave him here, he's a little kid. It's too dangerous to stay outside. When did you become so kind? Bai Luo was very surprised. It was obvious that Zio too didn't bother to care about many things when he stayed in the internet cafe before. So why is he willing to keep a child with him now? I have a feeling that it will be good for him to stay with us. Take him with you. I'll take care of him, okay? Seeing Teoti begging like this, Bai Luo could only nod his head indifferently. He told the child, I can keep you here, but you must be obedient by my side, understand? If you don't listen to my command, I will have to send you away. I know, don't worry, I will never cause any trouble for you. The child nodded like pounding garlic, excitedly surrounded Teoti, and blinked at it. Teoti's heart suddenly jumped. Could it be that Teoti was pretending to be so well behaved? In fact, it still retained the memory of being a Teoti. At the moment, when Bai Luo broke the seal, a huge crystal mirror in the Holy Land suddenly shattered, and the two disciples responsible for guarding the crystal mirror stood up from the meditation cushions with panic on their faces. Quick, tell the third elder about this. How could this happen? The disciples panicked and quickly went to invite the third elder over. The third elder stroked his beard, checked the completely shattered crystal mirror, and sighed sadly. Your master said before that he noticed some trouble in the place where the Kyanki was sealed, and he had already checked it himself, but there is no news until now. I don't know if it has encountered trouble outside. Chapter 121. The consequences of not believing in evil. Third elder, what should we do? The crystal mirror is broken. According to what the headmaster said, Kyanki must have escaped. Could it be that the seal has been destroyed? It's hard to say. Don't run around. I will arrange for disciples to check the seal. Don't tell others, so as not to cause panic. The disciples nodded repeatedly. The third elder personally selected a few disciples with higher cultivation and asked them to go and see what was going on in the seal. If Kyanki really escaped, I'm afraid there would be a lot of blood and rain outside. The ancestors spent countless efforts to seal Kyanki there. They originally thought that at least nothing would go wrong before they died, but they didn't expect Kyanki to escape so soon. Could it be that the ancient beast is really so powerful? Bai Luo searched around in the cave and indeed found two things he needed. Looking at the lotus stone plate, it was quite interesting, so he took it in. Anyway, his Kyankan bag was large enough, so he didn't have to worry about not being able to fit it. Now he had to go to the next place. There are really a lot of treasures in this forest. Let's search all the way there. Bai Luo opened the map that he had extorted from the system and gave instructions as he walked. Teoti was responsible for taking care of Leng Yu and the child, and nodded repeatedly. With Bai Luo's level of cultivation, it doesn't matter if he doesn't sleep for 10 days or half a month, but Leng Yu can't bear it. Even with Teoti by her side, the child in her belly would still often get angry, especially now that Teoti joined in. She felt extremely uncomfortable all over her body. Obviously, this child looks extremely well behaved and has never caused any trouble, but when Leng Yu gets close to him, she feels cold from head to toe. Teoti can probably see what Kyanki is thinking, so he can only find a way to separate it from Leng Yu. He tied a silk ribbon around Leng Yu and his wrists and stared at Kyanki intently. Bai Luo picked many exotic flowers and herbs in the forest to prepare medicine for our Angzu. Seeing that it was getting dark, he found a cave nearby. After Teoti released the pressure of the ancient beast and drove out the beast that originally lived in it, Bai Luo took out a fan with cold light and fanned it vigorously. After clearing away all the messy smells inside, he took Leng Yu in. He first found a flat and clean place to sit down and greeted her. "You can make a bed here. You are in a special situation. Rest here for one night and go out again when it's dawn." "Thank you, boss." Leng Yu was very grateful for his care. When she was away from home, she prepared everything. She took out a beauty couch and lay on it quickly. She was really tired after walking all the way. "How about you take a rest and I'll be responsible for guarding here." Teoti looked at Bai Luo. Bai Luo didn't feel tired. If it weren't for Leng Yu, he probably wouldn't have let go of the night and would have searched the forest carefully. But thinking of this child of unknown origin, he hesitated for a moment and actually agreed. "Okay, then I'll rest for half the night. Call me after an hour and a half, and we'll take turns watching." "Got it." Teoti nodded. Bai Luo leaned his head against the wall and closed his eyes. After a short while, he began to breathe evenly. The child glanced at Leng Yu and Bai Luo, who fell into a deep sleep so quickly, and a hint of mockery appeared at the corner of his mouth. Although his face was childish and he was small, his eyes now burst into a terrifying light. Teoti held it down, his eyes full of warning, and sent a message to him. "Don't mess around. This human man's cultivation is much higher than you think. If you offend him, I can't protect you." When did Teoti become so cowardly? If our kind knew, wouldn't they laugh at you? Kyanki's eyes flashed with interest. The stronger he is, the more I want to challenge him. I just noticed that the blood in his body is very strong. If I devour him, I can at least recover half of my cultivation. Don't mess around. Seeing that Kyanki was about to lose a temper in his body, Teoti quickly held it down tightly. "Since you pretended to be very well behaved in front of him during the day, keep it up now. Otherwise, if he attacks you later, I won't help you. Do you think I'm afraid of him? He's just a human. He didn't show any powerful moves along the way. I think he's just a show-off." Kyanki struggled to break free from Teoti, and the greed in his eyes couldn't be hidden. The more powerful the human, the more he wanted to eat him. Although Teoti had many conflicts with Kyanki in the past, he didn't want him to really die. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 = 9 plus BOOK_BAR released this novel for the first time. He had witnessed how powerful Bai Luo was. When he was about to lock Kyanki by force, the child in Leng Yu's belly began to make a fuss. Teoti paused and hurried over to comfort her. At this moment, Kyanki had already quickly crossed to Bai Luo's side, and seeing that he was still sleeping, he suddenly opened his mouth wide. His originally small body became several meters tall in the blink of an eye, and his open mouth was 2 or 3 feet wide. However, just as it approached Bai Luo's head and released a very untouchable aura, the very powerful protective barrier that the system had previously placed on Bai Luo took effect at this moment. Just when Kyanki was about an inch away from Bai Luo's nose, a purple halo suddenly popped out. Kyanki felt that a very powerful force suddenly hit his forehead. At this moment, he couldn't even see the things in front of him clearly, and was actually heavily bounced away. At the same time, when the purple light touched it, Kyanki's head was severely burned, and it wailed in pain. Teoti looked at Kyanki's figure being bounced away, and couldn't help shaking his head and sighing. However, such a big noise did not wake Bai Luo up. It was very curious and whispered a few questions in Bai Luo's ear, but Bai Luo did not move. What it did not know was that the system had an automatic protection function. Once Bai Luo closed his eyes, he would be forced to enter a deep sleep mode soon. Therefore, Bai Luo did not know that Kyanki was blown away by him. He could only sense that something had suddenly left. But because it had been locked in sleep mode and could not come out, it could only worry. Teoti walked outside the cave and looked up, but still could not see where Kyanki was blown away. Although he was a little worried, he did not want to leave, fearing that Leng Yu and the others would get into trouble. He could only comfort himself. Kyanki was an ancient beast after all. Even if it had become a child now, the blood in its body was still there. Those ordinary beasts would not dare to touch it, and Kyanki should not be in too much danger. Chapter 122, Unimpeded. Just thinking like this, more than an hour passed unknowingly, but it didn't wake up Bai Luo. Anyway, with its cultivation level, no one dared to challenge the authority of the ancient beast, even if it closed its eyes, so it spent the night in peace. Bai Luo rubbed his eyes and finally struggled to wake up from the system's sleep mode. He looked at the little rabbit curiously. "Why didn't you call me? Didn't we say that we would take turns? Since you were sleeping soundly, I didn't need to rest, so I didn't call you. It's almost time. I'll make some food. Let Leng Yu eat some, and we can go." Teoti was very calm. Bai Luo nodded, but after looking for a while, he found that the child who insisted on following him yesterday was missing. So he asked it curiously, "Where is the child? Where did he go?" Teoti glanced at him and lied without changing his expression. "You slept very soundly last night." The child had just laid down for half an hour when he heard the noise outside and ran out in a hurry. After a while, he told me that his family came to find him and he had to leave with his family. I didn't tell you because he looked so anxious. I think he has been reunited with his family now. Really? Then he is really lucky to be able to find his family in such a dark and remote forest. I hope everything goes well for him in the future. It should be. With his parents guarding him, there won't be any problem. Teoti didn't want to argue with Bai Luo about this issue anymore, afraid that he would find out that he was lying. He quickly went out to find some eatables for Leng Yu and brought them to her. Seeing how attentive he was, Bai Luo couldn't help but tease him. "Our little rabbit is getting better at taking care of people now." Teoti just pursed his lips and said nothing, but Leng Yu felt warm in her heart. Although she had never thought that one day she would have the blood of a fierce beast many years ago, she felt that if she could get along with the little rabbit, like she does now in the future, it would not be a bad idea. She believed that if the two of them worked together, they would definitely be able to have a smooth birth of the child. Bai Luo and his friends finished their breakfast in no time. After eating and drinking, he looked at the map nearby and called out to them, "Keep going. I still need a lot of materials. I'm afraid you will have to go to more places with me. I'm fine. Anywhere is fine. Let's go." Teoti stood up immediately. He still remembered looking at Leng Yu with concern. "Are you okay?" Of course. Leng Yu held its arm tightly and continued to follow Bai Luo, walking with 1 foot deep and 1 foot shallow towards the caves of several fierce beasts in front of them. Teoti protected her by her side. Leng Yu's situation was obviously much better than before. She was no longer like when she was in Kangalang country. Without the father of her child by her side, she could not suppress the energy that was constantly running wild in her body. Now, as long as she did not deliberately think about some unpleasant things, nothing difficult to deal with would happen. After walking for more than an hour, they finally arrived at a cave of red ants. According to the system's explanation, this kind of red ant is born with firepower, and its size is 2 or 3 times larger than that of ordinary ants. They usually go out in groups when foraging. Once they encounter a crisis, they will form a ball and spit out a lot of flames when rubbing against each other. Moreover, the temperature of this flame is extremely high, and ordinary water cannot extinguish it. It must be a monk with water or ice element in his body to solve it. However, the feces excreted by this kind of red ant is a very unique fire sand, which is one of the important materials for generating electricity. In this alien world, fire sand is usually used to build hotbeds. Some powerful families will combine fire sand with other materials with strong viscosity to make beds or other tables and chairs, which can ensure that they are very warm for decades. Some fierce beasts also use fire sand when hatching their offspring, and it is also a kind of material with extremely high value outside. Bai Luo walked to the outside of the red ants cave and waved to Leng Yu. Just wait here, don't go in. Red ants are poisonous. If you are bitten, it will be difficult to deal with it. I know, boss, I won't run around. You go in and take a look first. If you need anything, call us in time. Leng Yu stood there very honestly. Teoti didn't say a word, but the meaning was very clear. It would protect Leng Yu. Bai Luo didn't have any objections, as long as the two of them didn't make trouble. As for finding materials, he could do it alone. But to his surprise, a cluster of flames just popped out of his hand, and when he walked in cautiously, he found that the temperature of this cave was much higher than that outside, and there was no other abnormality. He walked deeper and deeper into the winding cave, and suddenly found that there was not even a red ant inside. However, there were layers of fine fire sand on the ground, which was estimated to weigh dozens of kilograms. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus underscore. He thought the red ants had gone out to look for food and was overjoyed. He took out his storage bag and started to fill it up. He didn't come out until he had filled all the fire sand on the ground, and the ground of the entire cave was as clean as if it had been washed with water. He said excitedly to Leng Yu and the others, "We are lucky this time. The army of red ants probably ran out to look for food, and I picked it up ready-made. Isn't this great? Get ready to go to the next nest. This forest is full of dangers. I have never been there before, so it is better to be careful," Teoti advised. Bai Luo nodded. He thought so too, otherwise he would not have taken Leng Yu and the others to speed up all the way. Soon, he followed the instructions on the map to a cave about 40 or 50 miles to the west. However, the smell outside this cave was quite unpleasant, and Leng Yu couldn't help but dry heave twice. Teoti quickly patted her on the back, took out 2 fruits for her to eat, and said with concern, "Are you okay? Come closer. What kind of thing lives here? It smells so bad." Leng Yu frowned and looked at the dark cave entrance. The boss was already preparing to break the seal of the cave entrance and go in. "What kind of thing lives in here?" Teoti had already begun to release his pressure. The vegetation here is quite dense. If they had not been very careful along the way, they would have stepped on swamp traps countless times. In contrast, the smell here is also very unpleasant, mixed with the smell of various dead branches and leaves and fesses gathered together. The ones in this nest are black spiders. The toxicity is not very strong, but the spider silk they spit out is quite tough and useful to me. How about this? You wait outside, I'll go inside to find it, and I'll come out as soon as possible. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123, Too Successful. Bai Luo briefly explained to them, and then rushed in quickly. A quick fight was his style. There was no need to have any disagreements with these beasts in such a forest. Fighting would only waste his time. As before, he collected everything he needed as quickly as possible. If he encountered a cave of the black spider that contained some other useful things, he would also search them all out. He only left their daily rations because he didn't eat those insects anyway. After going to dozens of beast caves, Bai Luo and his team ran for 3 or 4 days. They found that the materials had been collected almost, and now they only lacked one most important thing, the heart of the chaos beast. Bai Luo turned around and complained to Teoti and the others, "This last material is not easy to find. Chaos also has the blood of an ancient beast. It is estimated that he is very powerful. I don't know where he is now. If there is a chance, I will definitely find it. Let's go to other places to have a look." Teoti has been accompanying Leng Yu. Although his face was still calm, he was a little nervous in his heart. The heart of chaos, it's not easy to find. Whether it's a human or other fierce beast, the heart is very important. Once it is dug out, there is almost no chance of survival. Even if Chaos is a fierce beast with ancient blood, his strength will be greatly reduced after his heart is dug out. Even if he can get his life back by chance, he is likely to be caught or sealed by others. As a friend from 10,000 years ago, Teoti naturally doesn't want to take such a risk, but at the same time, he is even more afraid of Wang Bei. What if there is a problem of insufficient power next time? Do I have to dig the hearts of other fierce beasts again? What is the origin of this internet cafe? Bai Luo's face was full of suspicion. It's strange. I seem to have been too smooth to find materials all the way here. Every time I come here, the cave is clean. Where did those fierce beasts go? Could it be that there are other very powerful treasures in the forest, and they are all waiting? Maybe. Len Yu glanced at Xiao to obscurely and deliberately change the subject. Maybe those beasts sensed the powerful aura of the boss, and they didn't dare to fight with you, so they ran away. Her words were half true and half false. Although Bai Luo was strong, he was still a human being after all, and his aura was suppressed to the greatest extent. Some beasts with less sensitive noses could not feel it. She felt that the reason why the nests of the beasts that Bai Luo encountered were clean was probably because of the pressure released by the little rabbit. As beasts, the beasts must have known the strength of the little rabbit, and they definitely didn't dare to fight against the ancient beasts. They could only choose to save their lives. No wonder they ran so fast when the boss went over, and they didn't even have time to take the things in the nest away. Let's not talk about this. Let's continue to look for the heart of chaos. If we find it soon, the internet cafe can continue to operate. I still owe a lot of sales. Bai Luo continued to move forward. Teoti looked at Bai Luo unexpectedly. He didn't expect that. He didn't even think of asking him where the chaos was. Logically speaking, it and Hundan are both ancient beasts, so they must be related to each other, just like Kyanki before. Although they have been fighting each other for tens of thousands of years, their relationship is not that bad in private. It also knows where Kyanki likes to appear. But why didn't Bai Luo think of asking himself? After running for several days in a row, Bai Luo was finally a little tired, but he also gained a lot. In addition to the various precious materials needed for the internet cafe, he also found countless spiritual flowers and herbs and various precious refining materials in the nests of various beasts. He didn't know much about refining, but with so many things, he could find a book to learn by himself after returning, and maybe he could make a very powerful weapon. Now we are in the center of this forest. Let's have a good rest tonight. Bai Luo waved his hand, took out a 3-story building made of bamboo, and greeted Len Yu and the others. Don't live on the first floor. Let's live on the second floor tonight. As he said, he shook his hand and sprinkled a circle of golden scorpion fesses below. This fesses contains strong toxins. Most fierce beasts have a very sensitive sense of smell. As long as they smell the fesses, they should not dare to come over. They can spend a night safely. Got it, boss. You go to rest first. We will guard here. Len Yu's eyes fell on Teoti. Xiao too has been taking good care of her these days, and she is very happy. Originally, she thought that the gap between humans and fierce beasts was too big, and she thought that Xiao would not take the blood in her stomach seriously, but she didn't expect that she would take care of herself during this period, which made her have more expectations in her heart. Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR released this novel for the first time. What's more, Xiao can now transform into a human form. Len Yu thinks that it's okay for the two of them to be together openly. Although Bai Luo has not had a serious relationship with any woman since arriving in this different world, he has seen a lot of women in modern times. Besides, haven't you eaten pork but seen pigs run? Seeing how they have been getting along for some time, he knew that their relationship must be different from before, even if he used his knees to think. Thinking of the fact that he is still alone and has not met the woman he really likes, he couldn't help but sigh. Okay, you two should be careful. Who knows how many dangers there are outside. Don't make too much trouble. I know, boss. You go first. Len Yu glanced at him. Bai Luo found that the other person was too lazy to even look at him and looked like he was urging him to leave quickly. He sighed in anger, but he could only go to the bathroom of this small bamboo building to clean up. It is quite immoral to disturb other people's love, and he doesn't want to be a light bulb. Now, there are only the two of them in the room, and Ling Yu's cheeks are red. Thinking of the care that the little rabbit has taken for herself during this period of time, Ling Yu gently approaches it and expresses shyly, I know you didn't care about me before, because there is a racial difference between us, and you were worried about getting into trouble. But you have been very nice to me recently. Have you accepted me and the baby in my belly? Teoti had never experienced this before, and never thought that one day he would have a child with a human. Although when he was still in the form of a fierce beast, many female fierce beasts with similar strength would express their love for him. Chapter 124, Rescue. It's just that the beast's expression is much more direct than Ling Yu's. Often, if it takes a fancy to it, it will come directly to it in the middle of the night and ask for mating. But Teoti has never thought of this before, so it is inevitable that it will be a little embarrassed. Hearing Ling Yu say this, he gently patted her shoulder and said embarrassedly, I was wrong before. I should have taken good care of you. Then let's get along like this forever, okay? Ling Yu looked at him expectantly. I'm not a weak woman who can't even tie a chicken. It's just that I'm a little weak now, because I have a child. Don't worry, I will teach him well after the child is born smoothly. I will too. This is my first bloodline. I won't let you suffer. Teoti felt that during this period of time with Ling Yu, they actually got along well. Some of its previous bad ideas about humans were slowly changing. It suddenly felt that it was not troublesome to be with Ling Yu. At least she was a woman with a very strong mind. Even though her cultivation was far inferior to his, she was still clear-headed and had many ideas. Teoti has been walking in the forests for many years and doesn't know much about the human world. If Ling Yu is there to help guide him, their child will definitely be a strong one when he is born. Unconsciously, he tells her more and more. When Bai Luo came out of the bathroom, he saw the two of them huddled together and flirting with each other. The atmosphere was wonderful. As a single dog, he was stimulated by the scene in front of him. He snorted and walked out very unhappy. He was still complaining in his heart, this world is so unfriendly to him. Even Zio too is getting along so well with Ling Yu now, but there is no one around him who understands his feelings. I don't know why, he suddenly thought of Aang Zule, but he couldn't help shaking his head vigorously. That's still a half-grown child. Let alone sympathy. It is estimated that even his personality is not perfect. Although she has been pestering him before, insisting on being with him and marrying her, I'm afraid our Aangzu has never thought about how to get along with her husband as a wife in the future. I guess she was just hot-headed for a while. It's better not to think too much, lest you just cause yourself trouble all day long. Bai Luo shook his head. He had never been to this forest before, but after searching many beast nests, he found that there were really many treasures in this forest. Thinking of the system's previous assurance that there were only a handful of people in this alien world who could hurt him, he became much bolder. He conjured up a glass bowl in the air, put a dazzling night pearl in it, and slowly walked forward. Maybe there will be some unexpected discoveries in the middle of the night. Since he has come here, it would be a shame not to take advantage of it. He has been squeezed by the system to this point, so he has to make up for it from other places. The further he walked forward, the more excited Bai Luo's expression became. He didn't expect that he was just walking around in the middle of the night, and he could make so many unexpected discoveries. This forest is really a treasure place, with all kinds of exotic flowers and plants growing everywhere, and there are many valuable crystals scattered everywhere. He picked up food as he walked, as happy as a hamster storing food for himself. But after walking for about 3/4 of an hour, he suddenly smelled a strong smell of blood. He stopped immediately and took a few deep breaths. It felt different from the blood of the beasts he had smelled before. The blood of beasts has more abundant blood source power, and the more blood there is, the more choking it is. Ling Yu had vomited several times before, but what he smelled now was even mixed with a faint sweetness, which seemed to be unique to human women, and there were also wisps of floral fragrance. Bai Luo's eyelids jumped immediately. When Betty Minglan was in the internet cafe before, he had seen her make sachets for herself, and this was the smell. He quickly sped up and rushed in the direction of the bloody smell. Betty Minglin and our Yang Chen were both dying at this moment, lying on the ground covered in blood. She was a little better, but our Yang Chen had already fallen into a coma. Hearing the noise coming from the front, Betty Minglin tightly grasped her life-saving magic weapon, and she was very nervous. Now her strength is less than 10% of her peak period. If she encounters a powerful beast in this forest, she will probably die. Why is she so unlucky this time? She concentrated all her strength on her right hand, and was about to give it a fatal blow, when the big guy pounced in front of her. At worst, she would rather die together than let herself be eaten alive. At this time, Bai Luo's surprised voice came from the front. It's really you. Why are you here? Read the error-free version at 69 book bar. 6 equals 9 plus BOOK_BAR released this novel for the first time. When she saw that it was him, Betty Minglin carefully identified it and found that it was not a powerful beast. A big stone in her heart finally fell to the ground. The tension and worry just now disappeared without a trace. The whole person relaxed and almost fainted. Bai Luo rushed over and hugged her shoulders. Seeing that her originally pure white gauze dress had been stained with blood, his face looked a little ugly. What happened to you? What happened to our Yang Chen? Don't ask so many questions first. Find a place for us to heal our wounds, Betty Minglin said with difficulty. This is a long story. Okay, be careful. Can you do it yourself? Seeing her shaking her head, Bai Luo used the light of the night pearl to see that her lips were already pale, so he could only put her and the unconscious Yang Chen into the small spaceship, try to control the speed, and send them to the bamboo building steadily. Just now, Leng Yu was still flirting with Teoti. It felt that after tonight, their relationship had made a leap forward. Maybe it wouldn't be long before they could live a sweet and beautiful life like normal human couples. But at this moment, they suddenly heard something unusual outside. Teoti's hearing was more sensitive than hers, and he quickly grabbed Leng Yu and stood up. At this moment, the small spaceship stopped on the ground, and he hurried down from the second floor. The hatch of the spaceship opened, and Bai Luo called out to them, "What are you still standing there for? Send our Yang Chen to the third floor quickly. I have to check on him." Got it. Be careful. Leng Yu hurriedly escorted our Yang Chen with Teoti, and Bai Luo carried Betty Minglin to the third floor. The room on the third floor was very empty, and Bai Luo first placed them onto large bamboo beds. Our Yang Chen's condition was very bad, and it was obvious that the two had experienced a battle before. Teoti didn't know much about treating patients, so he could only let Leng Yu help Bai Luo, and said to them, "The smell of blood here is too strong. I'm worried that other ferocious beasts will come here at night. Please help watch downstairs, and you help them heal as soon as possible." Chapter 125. Bad luck continues. Go ahead and give warnings in time when you encounter danger. Bai Luo pushed it on the back. Teoti quickly jumped to the first floor, looking vigilantly at the surrounding plants and trees. Betty Minglin has been in the Holy Land for many years and has learned a lot of spells, big and small, and at least knows how to treat himself. Our Yang Chen was more seriously injured than her. Thinking of the fact that he became like this in order to protect herself, although it was a hindrance, it was a good thing after all, so she asked Leng Yu to help beside her. After sending her to the next room, he undressed her and treated the external injuries on her body. Fortunately, Bai Luo had good luck this time and found a lot of elixirs and herbs. Betty Minglin's expression was a little complicated, but he still did not refuse his kindness. According to the prescription, he crushed a lot of exotic flowers and herbs into juice, mixed them with the herbs he had prepared before, and took them all down, then slowly adjusted his breathing and meditated. It didn't take long for his face to look better, but our Yang Chen had not woken up. Although Bai Luo had checked his wounds and bandaged them with medicine, his heart was seriously damaged, and he would need to rest for a while. Fortunately, he had made a lot of money in the forest this time, otherwise he would not have been able to use so many precious herbs. After 3 or 4 hours, when the sky was bright, Betty Minglin barely managed to get out of bed. Seeing that our Yang Chen had been bandaged all over, he shook his head helplessly. "Tell me, what happened? You haven't contacted us since you and our Yang Chen went out. Are you in trouble?" Bai Luo asked her. Leng Yu had already been very considerate to help prepare breakfast. When she heard him ask, she subconsciously pricked up her ears. Teoti put a little bit of his own hair outside the bamboo building. This thing is much better than the golden scorpion's fesses. The aura of the ancient beast should not be underestimated. Presumably, other beasts in the forest have noticed that it is guarding here and dare not come over. When going out, Len Yu prepared all kinds of kitchen utensils quite well. Teoti was very fast. While guarding outside the bamboo building, he specially hunted 2 grey long-haired rabbits with very delicious meat and shot a pheasant. After washing and peeling them outside, he brought them back and stewed a large pot with some mushrooms collected nearby. Now the smell is all over the bamboo building. The saint is still a little weak now. I'm afraid that eating these big fish and meat directly will not be able to replenish her. I will make you some porridge with spiritual rice. Len Yu was very considerate. Betty Minglan was very grateful and quickly took out a small bag from his storage bag and grabbed a few handfuls of colorful rice. These are all prepared for me by the elders of the Holy Land before I came out. There is not much left now. Let's cook them all and everyone should eat a little. It was the first time that Bai Luo saw spiritual rice in this alien world. He couldn't help but come over to take a closer look. He said with great envy, "It's really good to cultivate immortality. Even the food you eat is fruits and vegetables rich in spiritual energy. Is your spiritual rice of high quality?" "It's just so." Betty Minglan smiled with a strange look on his face. "Aren't you also a cultivator? What you usually give us in the internet cafe is rich in spiritual energy, which is much more precious than my spiritual rice. This is just the most common 3rd level spiritual rice, which can be eaten by people of our cultivation level. In the world of immortal cultivators, all kinds of things are much better than ordinary ones. Although spiritual rice is divided into several levels from ordinary, 1st level and 2nd level to above, 3rd level spiritual rice is really not so special in Betty Minglan's eyes. At least with her status, she can get hundreds of kilograms of spiritual rice in the Holy Land every year. It's just that she is used to eating all kinds of food containing spiritual energy and energy. She is not used to eating ordinary rice, and it is consumed during the trial outside. Moreover, when she goes out for trial with other junior brothers and sisters, it is impossible to let them go hungry. Now there is not much left. The saint is so generous. I feel embarrassed to hide it. I have some fruits and vegetables here. I'll cut them all and make a few more dishes." Len Yu said as she rolled up her sleeves and prepared to cut vegetables. She had also been out for trials for many years, and in order to train her, the previous emperor of the Kanglang kingdom would not let anyone take care of her when she went out. Over time, this ability to be self-reliant was trained. Teoti took the kitchen knife from her hand and nodded at her. "Leave the rest of the work to me. You just need to watch the pot." Len Yu felt warm in her heart and did not argue with it. While they were cooking, Bai Luo took the initiative to ask, "You haven't told me what happened just now. Who did you meet? With your cultivation, you are so injured, and our Yang Chen hasn't woken up yet. I'm afraid the enemy you met is not an ordinary one, right? We are so unlucky to come out this time." Betty Minglan shook his head and talked about what happened after they left the Kanglang kingdom. Read the error-free version at 69 Shuba. 6 = 9 plus SHU_BAR published this novel for the first time. She had originally received a message from the Holy Land asking her to go back, and she had no doubts about it. After all, every time they went out for a trial, the elders of the Holy Land would ask them to go back every once in a while and tell them about their discoveries outside. If they got something useful outside, they could also exchange it for contribution points after returning to the Holy Land. These contribution points can be exchanged for various skills, elixirs, weapons, etc. that she needs in the Holy Land. She has been used to it for many years, but she didn't expect that on the way back, she would meet a mysterious strong man from the demon realm. The other party came and went without a trace, and even Betty Minglan, who was so skilled in cultivation, couldn't see where his body was. He could only see a wisp of black wandering soul swaying around him. She hated this kind of mysterious guy the most, and in a fit of anger, she directly started fighting with him. But she didn't expect that the other party's cultivation method was quite evil, and he could absorb Betty Minglan's strength and energy during the fight with her. Sensing that the situation was not good, Bao Yang Chen rushed forward to help. although his cultivation level was already above the watershed among ordinary cultivators, and he was considered to be among the ranks of masters. However, there were many kinds of messy skills in the demon realm, and he had never seen such a master who only appeared in the form of soul before. Not only did he fail to help, but because he could not hear the wind and determine the location and detect where the black figure was, he actually made things worse. Seeing that the two of them together were no match for the powerful man in the demon realm, they had no choice but to flee. Thinking of what she had just discovered on the road, Betty Minglin hurriedly sent a message to the people in the Holy Land. She had also seen the recording stone that sealed Kyanki back then, and she was even somewhat familiar with the aura. She noticed that the seal seemed to be broken. While sending a message to the elders, asking them to arrange people to come and help, she planned to go with Yang Chen to check the situation of the seal. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.